Hey, family. Hold on. You guys, can you hear all the ACs behind me? I just realized that my AC, not my AC, my heat is bumping and it's loud to me. Is it loud to y'all? Hey, family. I'm going to give you guys a chance to come in, of course. I feel like I'm always either sipping or moisturizing. Actually, I guess sipping and putting on lotion are both considered moisturizing. I'm always trying to make sure I have my moisture, child, because today we're talking about Married at First Sight. And there's a woman on Married at First Sight who is not much older than me. And yet, not age shaming, just confusion. Hey guys, let's see who's here. I see Natalia, Shelda, Olivia, Melissa, Harrison, Chrissy. I want to make sure, hey, what's up, Flo? I want to make sure I start acknowledging you guys at the beginning because you guys know that whenever I get rolling, I get rolling. Somebody said, Blue, you look pretty and moisturized. Thank you. Still trying to get the skincare routine. Sure. You know what? I do think there will be a time when I will do a skincare routine video. Because when I pack my luggage, how do I say this? And tell me if you're different. When I pack my luggage, about 30% of my luggage is clothes, and the other 70% is skincare and accessories and smell goods and ambiance. If I have to choose between my Galaxy Light and my incense and my under eye creams or an extra pair of pants, guess which one I'm going to pick? Hold on for a second, guys. All right. I want to make sure before my ADHD takes over, because the noise, hold on, I think there's a fan. Y'all can't tell, but I'm in the kitchen of my hotel, and the fan is driving me crazy. Oh, that made a difference. Y'all can't hear it, but it made a difference to me. All right. So, like you know, this is intentional, by the way, guys. I always start every show with about 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes of banter. That's because before I was on camera with you guys, I spent several years executive producing a bunch of podcasts. So I was a producer before I was on air talent. And in my producer brain, we always do, when we do a run of show, have about a 15-minute warm up before we do the show. So for those of you who keep joking, Blue forgets to start the show, Blue's not forgetting, honey. That's on purpose. So it's called a run of show. I have a run of show for every show, even though I make it look like we're just casually kikiing. And part of a run of show is if you listen to any podcast that's actually worth a damn, they do that on purpose. So the banter, whether you're listening to Joe Budden or The Read, or even call her daddy, you'll notice that Alex Cooper will do a warm up of banter before she gets to the reason why we're all there. That is part of production, guys. Okay? So I thought when I made the joke, oh, y'all know I have to do updates, that y'all knew it was tongue in cheek, but this thing about, hey, let's remind her. You're not reminding me of anything. It's on purpose. Hope that's helpful. Now let's get to the updates. Hi, my name is Blue Telusma. I'm a writer, producer, and emotional intelligence coach and a spiritualist. This show and all my shows are sponsored by ADHD. Yes. And the Bluecentric shop. If you want to buy intention candles from me, book one-on-one tarot readings with me, book one-on-one coaching sessions. Not everything I do is magic related. Please go to bluecentricshop.com/shop if you want to buy products, and /readings if you want to book one-on-one time with me. As for my one-on-one calendar, I'm going to tell you guys right now, my calendar is very booked. If you want to talk to me at any point in 2025, this is probably going to be one of your last few weeks to do so, because my spots have been filled. My vacation time has already been blacked out. And there's only like maybe a couple of hours a week that I'm even still open on my calendar. I just clocked that today. I was stunned how many of you have booked me. And so for anybody who's like, oh, I like Blue, I want to talk to her for the holidays, you have like about a week, respectfully. So that's the first announcement, is for all of you who want to do one-on-ones with me. Oh, wait a minute. Let me put the banner on. I forgot to put my banner. Show the banner. There we go. For all of you who are like, Blue, I want to book some time with you. I'm going to do it later. There might not be any later, beloved. Also, for those of you who wanted to take the class, the Own Thy Shift Self-Mastery course, I told you guys, I think a week ago, that we only had 2 or 3 slots left for the Wednesday classes, because we do 8-week Zoom classes. It's all virtual. You could be anywhere in the world. So Wednesdays when we do our American classes, and Sundays are when we do East Coast. I live in California. East Coast, international, and alumni classes. The Wednesday classes only had like 2 or 3. You guys bought them up so quickly. I felt bad and added a few more. Let me see if they're sold out again. Hold on. If they are sold out again, guys, I'm not adding anything more. I just want to make sure I'm giving you an up-to-date announcement. That's what this section is for. Let's see. Are there any more Wednesday class spots left? According to this, oh, there's one left. I had added 5 more. So there's one more spot left for Wednesday. If you weren't thinking about Wednesday, this is not for you. But if you were, there's one spot left. All right. Now, for everybody else, just sign up for Sundays. I think Sunday will actually be really fun. I used to actually teach my classes on Sunday. So a part of me is nostalgic and it feels good to go back to Sundays. All right, enough about the admin stuff. Now I want to talk to you guys about today's topic. Today somebody said no banner. Yes, the banner's up. Thank you guys. Today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. But before we talk about Married at First Sight, I need to do an update of my last live. My last live was so good. I've never said this on camera. I've never come to you guys and be like, wow, I killed that. Like, y'all know I'm not modest, but I'm also not that girl. That last live was such a good conversation. And I don't even want to take all the credit. We did such a great job, right? Because I watched it back, watching the replay of the chat, looking at the comments. You guys were blowing up the comments with our keyword for the live, which was real pro-Blackness, centers Black people. That live, I'm so incredibly fucking proud of that live. And here's the thing, guys. My mother was turning 79. TSA was striking because of the government shutdowns. I was 3 hours behind. I flew my sister into Boston. Her flight was behind. The guy at the front desk wasn't the usual guy at the hotel where we stay, so he was an asshole. So there was drama there. I had a hellacious night, and yet still, after all of that turmoil, I still spent 5.5 hours doing research, getting clips, running copyright checks, and then spent another 2.5 hours doing the actual live. All in all, I spent upwards of 8 hours on that live, and I loved what happened in that live. I also love that you guys were writing in the comments that people were actually sharing the live with you and telling you to, hey, come look at this. This is more nuanced than just a hot take. And I didn't get a single penny. I did not get a single penny. I did a copyright share, what I thought was a copyright share with Key Studios, because you guys know I run my videos through YouTube before I go live to make sure that I'm not just being a mule working for free. It was a copyright share before I went live. But somehow, after I spoke, suddenly it was a copyright strike. I did not get a single penny for all that labor. And it ended up being the most engaged video I've had this month, and I got no money for it. Now, let me explain what the most engaged video means. You guys think that you can clock how well. I'm going to give you some tea, guys, because I feel like because 2025 is my first year taking content creation seriously, I've been in the content creation world kind of like begrudgingly because I'm a writer. And whenever I work for a publication, they're like, Blue, you got to tell people that you wrote this article so they can know to come read it, right? So 2025 is the first year that I actually was intentional about content creation rather than treating it like an afterthought. I know that come January, stay tuned for that. Please subscribe. Please like this live so people can find me. And I can make my money back from the last live. Please subscribe so that the algorithm can put some of people's pages. But I know in January 2026, I'm going to start doing videos reflecting on what I've learned in my first year of full-time content creation. Because I've learned so many lessons, right? One of the lessons that I already knew, which is why it took me so long, because the first time I went viral, guys, and we're going to do probably a members only video about this, a story time. The first time I ever went viral was 2002. Y'all can do math. Yeah. Shout out to them. Now y'all know why I moisturize so much. The first time I went live was the year 2002. I mean, not live, viral was the year 2002. Back then, the word viral didn't exist. My friend just woke me up and said, you're all over AOL. So as someone who's been going viral for 23 years now, there are 3 things that I noticed. Number one, it's not how big your audience is, it's how engaged your audience is. So here's the biggest gag, guys. Sometimes when you guys look at my videos, some of the videos that have the least amount of views make me the most amount of money. How is that possible? Well, one of the things I'm going to be talking about come January is how the algorithm works. The algorithm does not pay the same for all content. Some of my content, there's a thing called, actually, I don't want to say too much, but the way YouTube and a lot of these algorithms work is advertisers will decide how much they want to pay you based on the topic that you're talking about and the engagement that you're getting. My engagement ratio is astronomical to my following, which means you could see me get a video that only has 7,000 views and it's paying my mortgage. You can see another video that has 100,000 views and I'm getting a couple $100. So this thing where you guys are thinking that views equate money, that is not true. I'm here to tell you it's not true. Some of my videos that have only 4 figures as far as views have made me bank. And some of my videos that you guys think are viral have made me pennies. And so as someone who's always, number one, when I went viral in 2002, understood that it was more about engagement than your following. I also recognized it was about who was following you. So I got my first 6-figure digital media job with only 2,000 followers. Was making 6 figures, but I had friends who had 500,000 followers who were sleeping on my couch. So it's how engages your audience. Also, who is in your fucking audience, right? A lot of content creators will talk about this. I've said this before. A lot of content creators will talk about the Shade Room and Hollywood Unlocked, and they'll follow those sites in order to get tea. Those sites follow me back. You see what I'm saying? So, and again, this is not me popping my shit, although maybe it should be. It's me understanding that popularity doesn't always equate to commerce and being able to feed your family. Some of y'all's faves with huge followings are struggling and or making the exact same amount of money I'm making, despite the fact that I only make a tenth of their followers. Why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because I want you to understand that my triple Virgo stellium, okay, I have 3 Virgo placements. So if I'm doing anything, assume I've done the math. I made a calculated risk that I knew I was going to talk about Key Studio and that I was going to have to share the profits. So I walked into that live already feeling like I was gifting the audience 50% of my intellectual labor. I made peace with that before I went live. So I already knew I wasn't going to get all my money. I knew it was going to be a dope live and I wasn't going to get all my money. But for them to take the other half so that I'm just working for free. Mind you, I'm in a hotel that's costing me like $2,000. I spent God knows how much flying my sister into town. Spent all that money on my mom's birthday. Didn't make a fucking penny this week. And guess what, guys? I still kept the video up. Why? Because a lot of people actually DM me like, Blue, if you did all that work and didn't get paid, why'd you keep the video up? This is something I've been telling you guys since day one. They always say, if you find something that you would do for free and figure out a way to get paid for it, you will never work a day in your life. I sincerely love what I do and did it for free as a love offering for several years. No longer plan on doing it for free. Don't find virtue in continuing to have free labor. However, because I loved what happened in that live so much, even when money was completely taken off of the table, I was still proud of it and still felt it had value, and my conscience just wouldn't let me take it down. So for anybody who's watching me who wants to be a content creator, who wants to be a social commentarian, who wants to get on here and have an audience and do this work, I am telling you up front, you have to love it. You have to love it, or it will not be as fun as it looks. Make sense, guys? All right, let me look at some of these comments. It's money well spent. Blue is one of the few YouTubers with integrity. Oh, I appreciate that. I don't know what you guys are referring to. Somebody said, can you edit out the footage and repost? No, they struck it down so bad, I wasn't even given the option. They struck it down so bad, I wasn't even given the option. Guess what, though? I actually didn't get to finish that live. There was a last 20 minutes that I didn't get to do. We about to do it now. Look, I didn't get paid. And I don't get, actually, I'm not going to get strike this time because this doesn't involve any of Key TV. So there's a couple of updates I want to give you on some lives that I've done recently, because I feel like I always leave you guys with these lives and then they go into the world and then they do their own thing. And I come back and I'm like, oh, maybe I should tell you what happened after. So there's one more thing I want to mention. We're doing an after show. Before I get into the thing about the not pork fried rice, southern fried rice. Somebody called it kunta kimchi. By the way, shout out to Twitter for coming up with the name kunta kimchi for southern fried rice. That is fucking hilarious. Oh, you guys, thank you guys. YouTube and Key TV. Look, I just work here. That name is hilarious. I saw on Threads a young lady who is, and if she's watching, because she probably is. You guys, I'm very aware I'm very aware that when I talk about people, they can see my lives. I don't speak from a silo. So I know they saw it. So one of the young ladies who works with Key TV said on her threads, I was so proud of the young actress who played the fat black girl character. And I'm saying that language intentionally because that's how they wrote it. And y'all talking all this mess, but in episode 6, she has this speech where she finally stands up to the Asian girl. My only response, and I watched it, by the way, because I don't speak without watching. My only feedback is that's irrelevant to me. What you did in the first 5 episodes was so harmful. You letting the big girl finally push back in episode 6 when half the audience has stopped watching does not absolve you. It's lazy. It's lazy. If you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig, right? So to the young lady who wrote that and tried to guilt us into feeling bad, talking about this young actress was amazing and she was she was amazing. Did y'all notice that I didn't attack the actors? She was amazing. That's why I didn't mention her. You know who wasn't amazing? Y'all and your tone-deaf decisions. So again, instead of continuing to be defensive, maybe just listen. Somebody said kimchi fried rice. Y'all are a mess. Somebody said, I'm about to throw up from laughing so hard because, what do you mean kunta kimchi? Yes, kunta kimchi. Oh, I love you too, Sonia. So guys, I need you to understand that this is one of those situations where I took a risk, it didn't work out, and I still would have done it again. I love what I did. I love what I did. Second thing is about another episode that I did was about Mark Lamont Hill. And when we had that conversation real quick about him and Joe Budden and why I think there's a lot of intrinsic value. How about today, an interview, and we're going to do this in the members only. We're not doing this in this live. This is going to be members only. For those who want to be a member, please look in the description box and hit the join a member button. It's right in the caption. If not, Florence can help you. There was a video that I saw today on my timeline that said Mark Lamont Hill responds to the Queen's Flip controversy. It was the first time that I saw Mark, MLH, they call him online, do any kind of programming where he was on somebody else's podcast talking about what happened with Queen's Flip on the Joe Budden podcast. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please look up my Mark Lamont Hill video. So I'm like, oh my God, I want to watch this video and see what he said. It's only 11 minutes. I have plenty of time. So I'm watching the video. And about 5 or so minutes into the video, I hear my name. And my first thought was not how I get in it. It wasn't anything bad, but it's one of those moments where I'm so used to people borrowing or being inspired by my content and not mentioning me and me being like, yeah, I can tell y'all saw what I said, right? I'm so used to that whenever people actually say my name on camera, it's always like, oh, you're not pretending you don't know who I am. That's amazing. So for those of you who are curious about that, I cut up the clip. We're going to be watching that in the after show. And I'm going to be giving my thoughts about what Mark Lamont said when he was asked. The question that was asked was, what do you think about the Angela Rise and the Blue Toulousemas? And my first thought was, what does that mean? What are the Angela Rise and the Blue Toulousemas? Somebody said, I saw that. I was screaming, yay, blue. Yeah. I was like, again, now how I get in it. But that's a whole other conversation. Now let's get back real quick to the part of kunta kimchi or kimchi fried rice, as y'all have started calling it. And the part of the live that I didn't get to show because I had to run to my mother's birthday party. And by the way, the birthday party was amazing. It was so good. Shout out to the caretakers out there because you guys need to understand I'm fucking exhausted. Whenever I'm in Boston, I'm going nonstop doing family stuff. I'm displaced. I'm working from a hotel. It's a whole lot going on. And I'm exhausted, but I'm still really, really excited to be here. So let me share with you the very end of that video that I would have shared in my now demonetized fucking video had I had the time. Okay. And maybe God wanted me to wait until now because hopefully this video will stay monetized. The last point that I wanted to make in my Southern Fried Rice video, and then I'm probably never going to talk about this again unless something happens, is that we need to talk about creatives, particularly Black creatives who use, actually, Black people aren't the people who do it. There's another show that does it, but I can't mention it because one of my friends is attached to it, and that would get me in trouble. So I'm going to just stick to this one. What happens when Black creatives who have internalized anti-Blackness use their art to hide how much they hate themselves? Because the point that I was going to make, if I had had time to land the plane in that really amazing live, and please watch it despite the fact that I'm not getting paid, because it really was a great conversation, is that Nakia Stevens is not the first person to create an exotic character to play out their fantasies of not being regular Black. Can we be honest? The same applies to Indian women, Southeast Asian women, Latina women who are racially leaning more towards being indigenous and or Black looking. Shout out to all my Blaxican friends, all my indigenous looking Mexican friends, all my darker skinned Latina friends. You know what I'm saying? So there's a long history of people, particularly women of color, because we tend to be at the bottom of the proverbial food chain, who use their art as a way to have escapism, fetishized dreams, right? Fetishized dreams where the protagonist is playing who they wish they were. Somebody said Mindy Kaling. That's exactly who I was thinking of when I said Southeast Asian, right? Mindy Kaling has been dragged for years for playing out her internalized anti-brownness in her programming. And so I wanted to be fair to Nakia and say that while I completely stand behind everything I said about how Nakia failed, and she did, it was a failure, Nakia, take the L, and grow from it. If Nakia Stevens posts ever something that I ever think is good, I'll be the first person. I always say this, I will be the first person to clap if you course correct. I'm the first person to critique if you got me fucked up, but I'm also the first person to clap if you course correct. So I wanted to share this kind of historical pan out, because what I always write in my comments, pan out about what happened in Southern Fried Rice also happened in some of y'all favorite books when we were growing up. I'm about to drag some, I'm not dragging. This is actually well behaved. Let me not say I'm dragging. I'm about to expose some of your favorite Black women writers who did what I believe Nakia Stevens did and have yet to be really fully examined and called out for it. Are y'all ready? This is the last bit of violence that has nothing to do with Key TV. Violence/education. Let me not be too tongue-in-cheek, because some of y'all new here and think I actually mean violence. This is the last bit of inconvenient education that I wanted to share. Y'all ready? Somebody said I had to stop watching that lady. Painful. Mindy? Yeah. All right, guys. Here's the end of the previously unseen last bit that I edited for our Southern Fried Rice video. And then we're going to, oh God, my sister texted me right now. Oh, my sister just texted me. Girl, I said, hey, love, I finally found the perfect topic for us to go live. Are you free Saturday afternoon? She said, yes, as of now. Girl, I'm on live now, so it's a real yes, because they can all see you. So, guys, Mel has agreed. This is loving sisterly peer pressure. See me typing. Mel has agreed to do a live with us on Saturday. We're going to be doing a special live on Saturday, and the after show on Saturday will be our very first Academy Tarot class. So Saturday's about to be a fun day. All right, so let's watch this video real quick. Oh, let me put her in Do Not Disturb, because I know she's about to respond and cuss me out. All right. All right, let's watch this. Now,
a lot of Black women like Palmer will talk endlessly about being the only one and always having to represent the ways they complain, but they're actually proud and happy because your actions speak louder than your words. The issue is the system, but you have to want to fight the system. You have to want to see an issue with the system in order to come to that conclusion. Some people, I'm not going to call any names, Palmer, they have been well fed by the system. Okay, they have no issue.
You guys, these are her thoughts, not mine. These are her thoughts, not mine. Her name is Cecilia. Cecilia, shout out for this last segment. I am intentionally keeping, I don't like her video. I'm gonna be honest. I love this video that Cecilia did. I don't love some of the the pictures she used. So for this last portion, I'm leaving her name up so you can find her. But then I replace the pictures with better pictures. So if you go to Cecilia's page, you're like, why does Blue's version look different? Because I think this is kind of ugly, but I wanted to give my good sis some credit, at least for you guys to find her.
Issues with the system, and they want things to keep on rolling on the exact way they always have, but they want to make sure that they get theirs. When people rightfully called out this melange of bad stereotypes.
Oh, you guys. So this is the response. Oh my God. Shout out to Amanita for the $99.99. I appreciate your hard work. Love the integrity you put into your art. Oh my God. Don't make me emotional. Thank you, my love. You guys don't make me have feelings right now because I have a full day of live and I don't want to cry. Is that the person said they love Cecilia Virginia? Yes, she did a great job, and I wanted to make sure that the part that she did that I wanted to shout out actually got a moment to be shouted out. You guys are gonna make me emotional, not me being a tourist crying over money. Y'all, we've never beaten the allegations. Let's watch this. So this is what Kiki wrote as a response to people like me who had pushback. It said, as a professional tap dancer and court jester for most of my life, I'm not complaining. I can tell you that it's imperative that people of color have jobs outside of just being. Kiki, please don't call yourself a court jester. I think more of you
She
than that.
said, as a professional tap dancer and court jester for most of my life, I'm not complaining. I can tell you that it's imperative people of color have jobs outside of just being the talent or the player on the team. It's my mission with Key TV to help fund and support the creators of color behind the scenes, giving them a chance to tell their own story. First of all, if this is somebody's story, I will eat my phone. Like, who in this room, this is their story? But you hear how she refers to herself? Professional tap dancer and court jester. She has just volunteered. She's a you know what for pay. And she just wants to make sure she's getting that executive producer money. I'll give you an example. So one of the stars of Southern Fried Rice is.
You guys, so this is the picture. Shout out to Cecilia. I chose this picture because I think Cordell and Serena look nicer in this. I'm being such a tourist right now. So this is the part where it stops looking like Cecilia's video because I wanted nicer pictures. Look how beautiful Cordell and Serena look. Look how beautiful Black love looks when it's allowed to love on each other. I think many of you mentioned in the previous live for Southern Fried Rice that you were upset that we fell in love with Cordell for being so pro-Black and so lovely. And then they put him in a position where he was trying to tongue kiss an Asian girl at HBCU. And that, I mean, I understand why that could be jarring for his fan base.
Cordell Beckham, you may remember him from season 6 of Love Island. He and Serena won the show. Now, why would you be taking a man who's famous for winning a reality show on dating alongside a dark-skinned Black woman when you're always complaining these relationships don't get shine and nobody supports Black love? Why would you take him and make him a potential love interest for an Asian girl?
By the way, chartreuse is one of my favorite colors. And I say it a lot. My friends make fun of me. I love you, Orange Moon, that you actually know chartreuse. One of my favorite colors.
At an HBCU, in your storyline. Why would you be doing that if you're really so for the people? And remember, like I said, this is not Palmer alone. She's the executive producer, but you have 2 Black women who attended HBCUs, at least one of whom is, unambiguous in coloring and features. So why would you be promoting this kind of imagery? Because despite what you may say verbally, you've internalized this idea that you're not enough. So you don't think you're worthy of love. You're never going to portray other Black women as getting and receiving healthy love.
Do you guys hear that? Now, this is the point, the overall point that I was making for those 2.5 hours of that video. Many of you said the 2.5 hours went very quickly. And I think the reason why that 2.5 hour video went quickly was because it was probably resonating, right? And what happens is sometimes it just takes someone to say out that quiet part out loud for you to be like, I recognize this is true. And even though I might have felt like a stern older sister to Nakia, like I will say, I probably said things to her that her friends needed to say to her but haven't. And James Baldwin always said, if I love you, and James Baldwin is my lighthouse. He is my North Star for how I choose to do cultural critique. I stand heavily on the shoulders of Baldwin. He says, if I love you, it is my job to make you cognizant of what you're not aware of. And so I can't say I love the Black community. I can't say I love the brown community. I can't say I'm aligned with the Asian community and the Native community and the indigenous community if I don't also respect you enough to call you out when you make a misstep. And when that misstep turns into a flat out failure because you're being defensive and acting as if you're above reproach, then at that point, we really need to talk, right? And so, it saddens me, but we have a long history of this in our community.
Because you have self-hatred issues. Watch out for women who write either books or TV shows or any kind of media that centers women who look nothing like them. Zane would be a great example. Y'all remember the Zane books?
Yep.
Every single...
Do y'all remember Zane? because I had no business reading them books, but they were all sexy and horny and shit. Zayn used to write the most exotic bad bitch. Like Zayn and Sister Soldier wrote about insta baddies before insta baddies were a thing. Can we all agree on that? Zayn and Sister Soldier were ahead of their time as far as how they covered baddies. They made baddies a thing before baddies even had a fucking name. Every woman they wrote about would now be called an insta baddie. And yet when you would look at their pictures, because it took us years to read what they looked like this. What do I mean by look like this? They look like the stereotype of the kind of woman that you expect to want to escape into a bad bitch as a persona or an avatar. And it hurts me to say that because as a fellow brown skin plus size Black woman, I understand that I'm catching a stray by saying that, but I don't move like that, so I don't take it personal. Right? And I think the Zayn of it all, I think what Nakia did, even you're like, well, Blue, Nakia is medium brown. She's not super dark skinned and she's thin and she's conventionally attractive. I think the bar has moved so drastically that the behavior that you guys used to clock in conventionally unattractive, fat, dark-skinned Black girls now exist in girls who you would think should not have to think like that. Now you have medium-tier baddies still coveting top-tier baddies, right? Now the inner ugly fat bitch lives within everybody. So I'm just saying it's obvious when we see it in a Zayn, but less obvious when we see it in a Kiki or Nakia Stevens. Just saying.
Full story. The girl, oh, I mix with Native American. Oh, I have light eyes and light skin. My hair is naturally straight.
Yes, all the girls in Zayn's books had Indian in their family child.
Or it's very curly. It falls down to my waist. I look hyper ambiguous. Remember when Zayn was anonymous and then people found out who Zayn actually was, and she was a short, completely unambiguous, larger of body Black woman. And I said, there's something wrong with her. And I stopped reading her stuff immediately. Same thing with Sister Soldier. When I read Coldest Winter Ever. And I love that book. She's a little off because she actually features herself in her book. The protagonist is Winter Santiago, who apparently looks so ambiguous. She is...
Mind you, when they said Winter Santiago looks so ambiguous and people thought she was Cuban, I used to be like, but I'm Cuban. So what does that even mean?
Constantly mistaken as Latina or Cuban in her particular area.
Guys, I'm Latina and Cuban and I look just like Sister Soldier. So I really need y'all to be freed from the shackles of acting like Afro-Latinas aren't just Black people with accents.
But Winter actually runs across Sister Soldier in the book, and Winter is talking about how unattractive Sister Soldier is. Oh, her hair is cute, but she's larger and she's dark and her voice is rough. And
can you imagine? Sister Soldier wrote in her book that one of her characters ran into her, thought she was an ugly fat bitch. So for the most that I thought you were Dominican. No, my siblings are Dominican. My daddy was a hoe. Walking stereotype. My daddy was Cuban. His wife was Dominican. Therefore, all my siblings are Dominican. And my mama was not. My mama's Haitian. I'm the literal Black sheep of my family. I hope that makes sense. Shout out to everybody with the second family in Latin America and Caribbean and the South who knows what I'm talking about. And I know that can be confusing. I always say my siblings are all Dominican because they are. All my siblings are Dominican. I know. I was just a nigga. That's facetious for those of you who are new here. So yes, guys, I wanted to point out this last little bit that the self-hatred is so strong, but it's not new. And that if you read The Coldest Winter Ever or any Zayn books, what I pointed out in Nakia existed there as well. Okay? And now I'm going to take this down. I also want to point out something too. Even though we were having fun during that live while having edutainment, I call it edutainment, and I know that word is always weird to say out loud. Even though we were having a fun edutainment moment, the girl who played the Asian character, I can't shake the feeling. Like I need her to speak up. I didn't blame none of the actors because all my friends are actors who need to eat and who are worried about what's happening right now in the world because they have not bounced back from the writer's strike, okay? Hollywood is not okay because of the writer's strike, particularly with the Black community, because they always say in America, actually not just America, the globe, when America gets a cold, the Black community gets the flu. It's always worse for Black people than it is for the rest of America. However, when that Black actress said in that AI montage, cornbread, I don't know why cornbread bothered me so bad. C-O-N-E bread. Oh, I see the Jamaican flag. Yes, guys, please pray for Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba right now. Please, please pray for them. I did check on my family, and they're okay. But like, the cornbread of it all, fuck with me, and I couldn't figure out why. I was like, why am I stuck on this young lady saying cornbread like this? It was so egregious. I was so offended. And then it wasn't until this afternoon that I was like, Blue, it offended you because you've heard this before. You've heard an Asian girl with a black accent saying cornbread, and it wasn't fiction. So I actually spent the last hour. That's part of the reason why I was a little bit late, because I actually showed up on time, but I had to find this video. Do you know I traced down the young lady who actually is in real life what Southern fried hiccups what Southern fried rice is actually trying to portray? I found the real Southern fried rice. I had seen her before, and she had pissed me off so bad that I had blocked her out of my mind. But the cornbread was fucking with me, y'all. So here's the real life Coco. That's not her name, but Coco from Southern Fried Rice is real, and I've seen her before, and here she is.
Oh, what? Yes, I have an accent because I ain't from here. I was born in Thailand, and I grew up in Georgia for a decade, and then I fucking moved to Nebraska. Ain't shit over there, by the way. How the hell y'all gonna tell me how I'm supposed to sound like?
So her response for people calling her out on having a black sense is to eat soul food.
Got me some soul food. So we got the fried fish with yam, mac and cheese, cornbread.
Cornbread.
You can't make this up. You can't make it up.
This young lady was called out for leaning too far into her accent, and her response was to eat some cornbread. And y'all are telling me that Southern fried rice is not harmful because the fat black girl gets to finally have some pushback in episode 6. All right, I'm gonna let it go. All right, guys, let's move on to Married at First Sight. By the way, is there anybody here who, after I made somebody said that, ew, I'm from Georgia, don't say cornbread. Cornbread. Look, y'all be telling me to mind my business. I'm trying to mind my business, okay? Now, guys, I have some questions around if anybody watched Married at First Sight, because I will be honest with you. For the timestamp warriors, the Married at First Sight portion has just started 38 minutes and 17 seconds in, okay? We have now just started the Married at First Sight. We had a great little catch up. If you are someone who is not a member, please consider becoming a member. How to become a member is right in the description box, the caption. You can also just hit join and it tells you how to do it, because we're going to be doing a special Hot Topics. How you do it? A special Hot Topics edition. Actually, let me just do a screen share, because the way y'all ask me the same 25 questions in my DMs all the time, and now I feel like I just need to have visuals, because maybe some of y'all are just visual learners, so I'm not going to get mad. All right, let me do a quick screen share, guys, and then we're going to start. And guys, I'm doing this during the Married at First Sight because I do want people who are watching from Married at First Sight to still become members. Hold on. Share screen. Here it is, guys. So if you go on the Bluecentric page and you hit join, the join will be somewhere around here. I am Bluecentric, so I don't have it. Just hit the join button somewhere in this vicinity. Then you'll be able to watch our live that is happening, a special Hot Topics. And guys, because Wendy Williams is the shoulders that we all stand on when we do Hot Topics, I made it a point to put Wendy on there. And then, yeah, you'll be able to watch it with us and talk to us, because there's a lot of stuff. There's some stuff about the Mark Lamont Hill interview that happened recently where I randomly got my name dropped. The Marvin Winans controversy with the Black church, Wendy Osefo and the update on her case. Amanda Seals has somehow gotten into more shit. Y'all, it's a lot going on. So if you want to join us for that, that's going to be in the special members only a live that we're going to do after show. Okay. All right. Enough housekeeping. Now let's get to Married at First Sight. Now I'm going to pull up the Married at First Sight season 19 cast, because guys, I can't believe I'm about to say this. I didn't think it was possible in 2019. Sorry, 2019. It's season 19. In 2025, I did not think it was possible in 2025 to have a reality show about love where I don't hate all the couples, have concern for most of the couples, and actually believe that maybe somebody might actually walk away with the partner. I did not think that was possible in 2025 to watch a dating show that features anybody who is Black, over the age of 25, not a size 0, where the possibility of actual love might be a thing. In fact, the Married at First Sight producers from when it was on Lifetime, because it just moved to Peacock, I still think they need to pay for their crimes. I still think they need to pay for their crimes. That Black lady, y'all know who I'm talking about. There was about 2 or 3 Black ladies. First of all, it was a girl with a guy named Chris, I think. There were some seasons of Married at First Sight that were so psychologically violent, I was like waiting for them to get sued. I was like, somebody's gonna have to sue y'all. There's no way that this is legal. Somebody has to sue y'all. This is psychological damage. In fact, the things that Love is Blind is being sued for, I think Married at First Sight should have been sued for first, a lot of them. Paige, yes, Chris and Paige. Y'all, Chris and Paige, I wouldn't wish that on my greatest enemy, and I'm not the kind of person who says that. There's a lot of bad things I wouldn't mind my greatest enemy having. When y'all say, I don't like you, but I wish you the best, I don't be wishing bitches the best. I wish you whatever the fuck you deserve. So for me to say this, I really mean it, because I don't believe in pleasantries and platitudes just to sound like a good person. I sincerely would not wish what happened to Chris and Paige on my worst enemy. That shit hurt my guts. And there were several other seasons where I felt like I needed therapy just to watch the seasons. So I decided several years ago, I'm not watching this shit. And I would watch every beat. There's a thing I do with Married at First Sight. Whenever I'm watching Married at First Sight, I'll watch the first 2 or 3 episodes to see if there's hope. There's never hope. There's never hope. I'll get grossed out. Like I'll literally get nauseous, like quite literally get nauseous in my tummy. And MM and Kichi, another one. First of all, MM and Nikichi, I can say this now. They call him Ike. Their episodes were airing while I was actually dealing with Icky, and it triggered me so bad I couldn't finish that season. The fact that he acted so much like Icky and even had like part of his name that season, and then when I had her back, she got all fucking weird. Bruh, what's that meme go? Emotional damage. I had emotional damage from watching Married at First Sight in a way that I'm just starting to feel with Love is Blind. Oh, and please believe we are doing a Love is Blind recap after the reunion. Please believe. Okay? So, Married at First Sight, absolute dumpster fire. I will say, though, they worked up to being a dumpster fire. There were some good seasons. And like Dr. Pepper, what's her name? Is that her name, Dr. Pepper? She got a name like that for Married at First Sight. It's like Dr. somebody with a P. The white lady with the beautiful blonde hair. She said, we are much better than Love is Blind because we have 11 marriages and 13 children. She's right. Not to look like Drewski, but she's right. They have a better track. It is Dr. Pepper. Okay, I didn't make that up. I feel like, is that a hate crime? Okay, so Dr. Pepper, the pretty blonde lady, she mentioned that they have a better track record than most of the reality shows, and they do. But who had to die on the inside where it counts for that to happen, Dr. Pepper? Right? People had to go through it. So I just need y'all to know that Married at First Sight, I did not think there was any chance that I was going to be doing a live about Married at First Sight. She was determined to get married, which is always, yeah. That's another thing, too. If you want to find you a grade A pick me or a grade A, this is my last chance before I die alone, Married at First Sight has Love is Blind beat by a mile. Especially considering the age limits are a little bit broader, so it's kinder to people who are of a certain age. So I had 0 plans of watching it. So you're asking, well, Blue, then how the fuck did we get here? You made an announcement. If you vowed not to watch it, how are we here? Well, I'm going to tell you. The reason why we're still here is because I saw a Black couple, only one Black couple. They're in Austin this year. And their picture kept popping up on the screen. And it didn't feel like it was popping up for a good reason. But they look like a cute couple. And so I said, now why are these 2 young people, these 2 Black on Black love people, popping up on my screen so much? I got curious. Do you know I ended up binge watching the entire series yesterday and today? It's the first 4 episodes on Peacock. And the first thing I was shocked to realize is they must have hired new producers. Somebody said, dang, I thought about signing up. Actually, one of my clients signed up for Married at First Sight. And I'm not sure if she got in or not, but she had a reading with me. And she was like, hey, the producers just hit me up. My reading told me she wasn't going to get married, but I didn't feel like she didn't ask me, so I didn't tell her. So if she's watching, hey girl, how did it go? But yeah, no, it was bad. Please don't sign up. Well, don't sign up for the Lifetime one. Now that it's hit fucking Peacock, I can't believe I'm saying this. Whoever Peacock hired to be producers for Married at First Sight, dig their big one. Peacock finally fucking got it right. I'm looking up because I don't want lightning to strike me. Peacock actually produced a marriage-minded, relationship-minded reality show about love where I actually believe they might actually give a fuck about the mental well-being and gasp, love. Somebody said to marry a contestant is crazy. Oh yeah, previous producers were fucking on the contestants. When they were doing it over at Lifetime, you know, i.e. my 600-pound, I'm a little person with 3 wives channel. You know what I'm saying? That channel, if you got something weird going on, I think the last show I saw on there was My Husband's Not Gay. He just likes dick. I'm being serious. It's a real show. Like, it's not Lifetime, it's TLC. Is it TLC or Lifetime? It's one of them shows. Lifetime and TLC are interchangeable because I know that if you're on either of those platforms and you're sharing your real life, it's about to be jokes, right? So, yes, guys, there's a show called My Husband's Not Gay. He just likes boys and dick and whatever. I might be taking liberties with the end of it, but look it up. It's true. In fact, I'm thinking about doing a watch party on that show, but I don't think I would. My intrusive thoughts might win. you guys focus. Yo, it's already bad enough I have ADHD. I need y'all to focus, okay? If somebody said WeTV, there's a show. I'll find it for y'all because the clips be clipping. So anyways, I was stunned and I was like, there's no way that Peacock somehow acquired Married at First Sight, the show that I consider the emotional damaging reality show that I've ever consumed in the 2020s, and actually fixed it. And yet, I did some digging. I'm not the only one who thought so. Watch this.
3 episodes into this new season of Married at First Sight on Peacock. It is season 19. And as a longtime viewer, this is the first season that's streaming on a streaming service. And Peacock is making some much needed changes. And guys, I'm already hooked on this show. So first change I did notice about the format is they skipped right into the weddings. Primarily when the show was on Lifetime, they would do a whole episode about the casting process. And every single season, I would skip that episode because what's the point? Also, since it's now on Peacock, they're dropping the episodes in batches each week, and each episode is under an hour long. Compared to it being on Lifetime, this is a major change because those episodes were 2 hours long every single week for like 8 or 9 weeks. So the show felt extremely dragged out. They also did some things that they've never done before on the show this season, including having a mother-daughter duo both get married. In the first episode, we see Jalen get married. And while she gets married, obviously we meet her beautiful mother, Belinda. And Belinda gets married in episode 3 to Chad. So this mother-daughter duo is going through this process together, which is insane. But I love these girls so far, and I feel like it's going to be so interesting seeing them do this together. And last but not least, they picked up the Golden Bachelor type of vibe, adding an older couple over 50 into the mix. This is Pat and Rhonda. Pat is, I believe, in his late 50s, and Rhonda is 63. And so far, so good. I feel like I have to make another separate video about each of the individual couples. But yeah, 3 episodes in, I'm already hooked. These type of shows, I do not get my hopes up, though, in terms of connection. I primarily watch because of the drama. I'm not going to lie. But
so, guys, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to be watching Married at First Sight. And I plan to watch the entire... I'm invested enough where I actually plan to watch the entire season. Y'all know I'll do a video about a show, watch 4 to 8 episodes and say, fuck y'all, I'm out. I actually, hold me accountable. I actually want to see if I, for the first time in 5 years, can actually watch an entire season of the show. Can't believe I'm saying this, so I guess this is going to be like a weekly installment. So let's get into the breakdown, guys. Hold on. Let me see if I can find some pictures because I've been hanging out with my mom all day, so I wrote a lot of notes, but I didn't pull up a lot of pictures. All right, so the first couple, let me see if I can get cast pictures. Let's see if we can do the cast. Married at First Sight. You guys know this is a homegrown show. We're going to do it right in front of y'all. Married at First Sight season 19 cast. With pictures. All right. Oh, this, I guess that's a really popular. Here we go. Found it. Got him. Let's do a screen share. Also, too, guys, Peacock for some reason is doing like clusters of episodes. Maybe they're doing this because of the Love is Blind having success doing this. Yes, we just started, Gia. We just got to the part where we're about to start talking about the show. Now, the first thing I want to show you guys is this man. Some of you are saying you think he's gay. I know we love to, call everybody gay if they're nice in the show. Although for Love is Blind, that man is gay. Y'all know who I'm talking about. For Love is Blind, that's not just the audience being messy. So this man, his name is Josh. I want to pull up. Hold on. Josh and Jalen are the first couple I want to talk about. Now, why do I want to talk about Josh and Jalen? This is Josh, attractive, nice body, and Jalen. I think the reason why people think that Josh might be gay is because he's attractive, he's fit, and he is kind. And I hate that we have this thing in our mind that if a man is really, really open and in touch with his feelings, we automatically think that he's gay and he's in the closet. That really sucks. But also, I understand why we move like that, because a lot of times there are closeted people for many reasons. So Josh and Jalen are the first couple I want to talk about. And I'm going to see if I can find a picture of them together. I wish I could find a picture of them together. Josh and Jalen. Here they go. I found a picture of them together. I'm going to open image, a new tab. There we go. Let me see. Oh, I could have just hit that button that says share this tab instead. You guys, you know what's so funny? I've been doing this for a couple of months now. I'm still learning how these buttons work. All right, perfect. Here they are. Josh and Jalen. So we're starting off with them, right? They are an interesting couple because I was not planning to root for them. For some reason, couples who look like them always will make you feel good, and then they'll do some weird toxic shit and make you look stupid. And so because of me prejudging them, I was not planning to root for them. And yet, guys, I currently think they might be one of the healthiest couples. Let me look at my notes. First thing about Josh and Jalen is Josh is excited because he thinks Jalen is pretty. And she is pretty. And I'm watching the show and I'm just like, wait a minute. Could it be that he's a man who actually understands that the woman that he's interested in is not going to be a supermodel, just going to be regular cute? Because she's very, very cute. But unfortunately, and I hate to say this, on Married at First Sight, women who are Latina and slim and cute, but not blonde bombshells, it's hit or miss if they get a good partner. Last season, they had a Latina woman, and they intentionally put her with a Latina man who really cared about his culture, and that man was not attracted to her at all. But for whatever reason, somebody said he give country white fine. He does. And he got a strong back. For those of you who wonder what my type is, I like a man with a strong back, because men with strong backs can lift heavy things. I am things. Okay? So when this strong-backed, country fried Adonis came in, I was like, okay, wait, you strong, and my gaydar's not going off, even though you're real sensitive, and you're really affirming. I immediately was like, okay, am I being set up? It's true, guys. People with strong backs hold heavy things, and I am things. Like, come on. So I was immediately like, oh my God, I kind of like Josh, right? Now, here's the thing that's so interesting about Josh is he was very clear up front that he loves the idea of getting married because he's finally ready. And it felt like, okay, what's the catch? Can I be honest? I know that's a toxic thing to think, but when you watch these shows, you have to develop trust issues because you can't trust producers. I was like, okay, so what is his thing to make him an asshole? Because there's no way that the Married at First Sight producers actually found a tall, attractive, non-broke, non-homosexual man who is not a person of color who can hold space for a Latina. There's no way in hell. And yet, 4 episodes in, spoiler alert, I think they might have. I'm just as surprised as you are, family. I'm just as surprised as you. And so by the time I saw these couple, I was like, okay, this is going to be a good season. It's going to be interesting. And then we got to the Black people. Will and Brittany. Y'all don't understand. I'm sighing so deeply because I am so disappointed. It was going so cute. I thought maybe my trust issues are not well founded until we got to Will and Brittany. And let me find a picture of them. Let me see if I did it right. Did I do it right? Oh, I did it right. Look at me learning. Ow, that was so quick. Yeah. Look at them. Y'all know how I feel about objectively calling people equally yoked based on optics, right? This couple looks made for each other in the same way that Josh and Jalen look like a couple. And this is something I'm going to give the producers credit. This year, the matchmakers picked couples that they thought actually would be attracted to each other and would actually have things in common. Revolutionary idea. In previous years, they keep on hoping people are better than they actually are. Somebody said they look good together. Hey, guys, I need you to understand, this season, all the couples look good together. I'm as stunned as you are. Every single fucking couple makes sense this year on paper and a little bit in real life until people start showing their asses. Somebody said, praise God. Everybody looked good. Nobody was given, there was no black men who hated black women being told, well, figure it out, she's your wife now. There was no fat phobics with a big bitch. None of that. Everybody got what they actually like. So at this point, I'm like, oh my God, okay. Everybody's getting what they like. They only have one black couple, but it's fine. I'll take it. It's Austin, Texas, right? And Austin is considered progressive, but it's still fucking Texas. So now I see Will and Brittany, and I'm looking at my notes right here because Will's first thoughts were, and I wrote this down, he said, she's adorable and I love it. So Will is immediately saying the wedding day that he thinks that his wife is attractive. Okay, and whatever she got, he wants to touch it. So now I'm like, wait, she got more compliments from Will in their wedding reception than Paige got from Chris in the entirety of her season. For those who are saying he doesn't chalant enough, I need you to know you're all very comfortable about what's wrong with Will. I think Brittany's also the problem. I think Brittany is as problematic as Will. The entire internet is acting as if it's only Will. I vehemently disagree. I think Will and Brittany are equally yoked in fuckery. It's just that women are predisposed to understand how men fuck up, and women who sometimes mistake something being familiar or relatable for being healthy are so busy feeling bad for the version of them that lives in Brittany, they're not clocking her bullshit. I think Will and Brittany are equally a hot mess. There's no victims here. That's one thing I will say. So far, I have not seen any victims. Red flags, but not victims. Michelle's saying you agree. Agreed. I do not believe Will would be attracted to Brittany in my opinion, but I totally agree that they are both the problem. They are both the problem. I think, here's the thing. I think Will was attracted to Brittany, but not enough to overlook what's wrong with her. Does that make sense? Because there's different tiers of attraction. I think if Brittany, first of all, Will is already a problem, so I'm not going to blame Brittany for anything wrong with Will. But if Brittany had a less anxious character and wasn't an operating trauma response, like Brittany is a walking trauma response. Every single thing she has said this entire season has been steeped in trauma like a tea bag that was left overnight in the fucking kettle. I have not heard a single thing that Brittany has said in these 4 episodes that wasn't like, ooh, please put that down and talk to your therapist about it tomorrow. Right? So while Chris did Paige dirty, somebody said Chris did Paige dirty, but she was a willing participant. And she was, and I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that. She shuts down for everything. Brittany is the fucking problem, and so is Will. They're both the fucking problem. But let's move on from them. I'm looking at my notes for day 1. Everybody's kissing. Oh, I'm looking. You guys know that whenever I read my notes, I read what I was saying to myself. Everybody kissing. Goddamn, mouse everywhere. And the women love that the men are attracted to them, which makes them blossom. Yes. Everybody was tongue kissing each other, y'all. So one of the things that they learned about, and I think this video that I showed earlier said it, they learned that we don't want to keep seeing these episodes where everybody and their mother is spending 5 weeks before we get to the weddings, right? So because they heard we didn't like that, what they did is they made it so that they got right to the weddings and right to the kissing and right to the affirmations. I also really, really, really love that the bachelorette parties were actually shown at the end or towards the end of episode 3 and not as episode 1. Why am I saying that? whenever we see the bachelor parties and we hyper focus on it, we end up judging and rooting against the couples before they even get to the altar. You see what I'm saying? He was looking at that stripper. This marriage is doomed. Who's the dummy they set him up with? We become so mean and judgy, and our hypervigilance is so overpronounced when we see the bachelorette parties. By the time they showed the bachelor/bachelorette party in episode 3, I had already made sincere, self-appointed decisions about how I felt about the couples that had nothing to do with me prejudging them before they met. A lot of you are saying you agree it's both of them. Thank God, because TikTok is saying TikTok is lazy. TikTok is saying it's just him. It's not just him, child. In fact, in my class, I teach an entire week of class that's all about the dynamic that we see in Will and Brittany. For those of you who took the class, you know what I'm talking about. The class that we just did last week is about them. Anyways, so I was like, okay, this is amazing. Then we got to, let's look at the next couple. I want to go through this quickly. Actually, let me go to the page that I have that has all the couples all at the same time. Up next we have oh God, the old people. Let's actually hold off on the old people for a second. Let's go back to Jalen and Old Boy, because I feel like Jalen and Old Boy are a great conversation, and I want to say somewhere positive before I put my foot in Will and Brittany in their mess. So while Will was getting married, but I'm gonna keep I'm saying Will's name, but I want to keep it on the happier couple. When Will got married to Brittany, he sat down to talk to Brittany's parents. Number one, Brittany's mother is so beautiful. Like, Brittany looks just like her mother. Her mother is such a beautiful older woman. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. So they sit down, and Will is talking to the family, and they ask, "Do you believe in God and church?" He says, "No, I'm agnostic, and I think church is a mess," and goes in on religion. Now, do I believe church can be a mess? Absolutely. Is that going to be the first thing I say when I'm meeting the parents of my bride who I just met? Probably not. Will was an asshole in the way that he talked to that girl's parents, and I immediately understood why the audience would see him as the problem if they ever got into it. So, Will, I hope he watched back that conversation, because the way he talked to Brittany's parents had no couth. A part of me even wrote, is this autism? Is he an asshole, or both? I wrote that in my notes. Is this autism? Is he an asshole, or both? Because the way he spoke to them, I was like, and I would later realize what's wrong with Will is also what's wrong with Brittany. Will and Brittany are a perfect example of what happens when TikTok raises your kids. We'll get into that later, right? And so while Will is talking to this young lady's mother, father, because the mother wasn't saying anything. You could tell she was judging him, but not saying anything. The father says, well, fine, let's not talk about church. You play dominoes. And Will says, nah, but we could play spades. I'm like, well, just say yes. Just at this point, just say yes, right? And so the father says to Will, I'm reading my notes, sometimes a man gets a strong woman and you just have to be as strong as she is. Basically, you don't seem to be reading social cues. Are you okay? Somebody says, how old are they? They are 29 and 30. Then we get to this couple, because it was teetering back and forth between these two couples in that first pilot episode. Jalen and Josh, right? Josh sees Jalen coming down the aisle, and this man might as well have jumped up and clicked his heels. The reaction that Josh had for Jalen, I need whoever I have to have something similar. This man, I'm surprised, excuse my language, I'm surprised his dick didn't jump along with his wanting to click his heels. He was so excited when he saw her. I was like, I like this for her. I really, really like this for her. It says here, Jalen's dad says the most important thing is, oh, yeah. So there was a conversation where Jalen's dad was talking to Josh, and he said the most important thing in a conversation is to communicate. And then Jalen's mom walks over, and she says, and mind you, Jalen's mom looks just like Jalen with gray hair. Jalen's mom walks, beautiful older Latina woman. And she says, hey, I agree. I'm so happy for you. And by the way, I too am getting married at first sight tomorrow. And that's the big plot twist of the season is Jalen and Josh got married. And the very next day, so is her mama. Right? And I'm like, excuse me, what? Yeah. Somebody said Josh was worried after Jalen's brother said they were twins. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jalen has a twin brother. She's the more attractive. So I'm watching and I'm like, okay, wait. We're ending on that cliffhanger. That was the cliffhanger for the pilot is you watch the black couple and you're like, they're cute. But somebody wrote in here that he seems like one of those intellectuals. Again, he reminds me a lot of Icky. Somebody who's very intellectual and looks down on people. His whole brand is I'm intellectual and everything sucks. And I'm an intellectual because I think everything sucks. So Will is one of those. Josh is the complete fucking opposite. He's actually here for a long time, not just a good time. And now we're finding out that his bride's mom is going to actually be getting married. Now, let me see if I can pull up a picture of her mother, because her mother, this is where shit gets a little tricky. I'm trying to choose my language. Jalen's mom is a beautiful woman. I'm also I'm choosing my words carefully. I'm a little confused about her age because I'm scrolling past all the contestants. This is Jalen's mom. Oh, she looks really great there. Actually, she looks great in general. In this picture, I think Jalen's mom, somebody see it. Somebody said, your browser has lost connection to your screenshot audio. Oh. Can you guys hear me okay? Just want to make sure there's no technical difficulties. She looks really good here. In the video, if you guys have to guess, how old do you think Jalen's mom is? Well, I told you guys to guess. Now somebody doesn't want to say. You guys, when I say guess, that doesn't mean say the age. It means guess. 50s. Okay. For those of you who didn't see the answer, I thought she was a gorgeous woman in her 50s, personally. Somebody said 38 or 40. Oh, y'all are hanging out with people who look different than people I'm used to hanging out with then. This was not a rhetorical question. I actually wanted you guys to, no worries, love. I wanted you guys to give a real answer because I'm clear that I'm surrounded by a bunch of baby-faced 40-year-olds. But, okay, we're not going to call it a rough 40s. So she's 47, guys. That's not a rough 47. She's a beautiful woman. 42. Okay. Look, you guys are proving my point that the squint that I did is a squint that we're all kind of doing. I was very surprised that this woman was only 47, despite the fact that I find her incredibly attractive. Actually, let me make myself small and make her big. Hold on. I'm going to take it down and then add it to the stage. I was sincerely, zero shade, because again, I think she's a gorgeous woman. She's very beautiful. I was surprised that this woman was 47. And a part of me was like, well, Blue, why is that, right? Because this has happened to me before where I've seen someone and people have been like, no, she looks her age. And me and my friends are like, no, she doesn't. And to the person who said the answer, I realized after much thinking back, I actually felt guilty. I was like, Blue, is this age shaming? Is this you being ageist? And I was like, no. I asked all of my friends who are not age shamers, how do you think they are? And we all thought she was in her 50s, despite the fact that we all thought she was beautiful. There's a video. There's a reason why I'm sharing this. For anybody who might have thought this woman was older than she is and had the same reaction I did, here's a video about why we all need to show her grace, because the reason why we think she looks much older is because of this. There was a pair of twins who posted a video recently on social media. And in the video, they're identical twins, but the video says, when me and my twin go out, people always think I'm her mother. And here's the reason. So you see the video, right? These girls. No, the person said she could be 47. I was surprised, but I didn't think it was like a lie. She is 47. These two women. Somebody said, yeah, I thought 53. I would have thought she was a banging 53. The 47 fuck with me. I'm not even going to hold you. These two women are twins. The one with the glasses, everybody thinks she looks way older than the other one. And somebody cracked the code.
I am willing to bet that one of them has a husband and at least one kid.
I understand that if you scroll, I went to the comments, the lady confirmed it. The lady saw this comment, and I hope you guys can see it. the lady confirmed that she does have a husband and a child, and that is the only difference between her and her identical twin sister. Somebody said it might be the weight. Everything you're about to say, weight, bags, clothes, that all has to do with having a husband and a child. I'm being honest. When you have a child, that is a stressor. When you have a husband, whether you love him or not, that can be a stressor depending on what kind of husband you have, right? And so the stress that often comes, I think the reason why I am always stunned when I see women who are in their 40s, and I have now entered my 40s, and I'm like, are you sure? Because none of my friends look like that. It's usually the friends who do not have husbands and or have husbands who wouldn't do that to them because they know better, and or no kids. My friends who are unmarried and childless and or fun married with babies look significantly younger than my friends who have the stereotypical setup. And so the fact that this woman had a child at 19 who is now Jalen. She had children at 19 and Jalen is 27. Do the math. Right? So the fact that somebody said blue 40s, why do y'all always do this? The fact that me and this lady could have technically been in high school around the same time. My brain is stuttering. I'm not judging her. My confusion is not a ploy to judge her. Also, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, beautiful woman. Okay, let's get into it. Let's go to the episode 2. We're going very quickly, guys. The reason why I'm going very quickly is because I want you guys to know reasons to watch and to be more engaged. Because a lot of you didn't watch, so I can't talk to you the way I want to. But I'm going to give you broad strokes of both before we do the after show. Now, episode 2, right? Because episode 1 starts off with me thinking this lady's about to get married. I'm waiting. Somebody said beautiful gowns. Y'all ain't shit. You guys, it's true, okay? Because of the fact that we end with this cliffhanger of this lady is about to get married, I'm thinking we're going to start the episode off with her. We don't. Instead, we start the episode off with the other couples. Now, there is one couple on this show, and I can't believe I'm about to say this. And for those who've seen the episode, let me see if you can guess. There is one person. Why do y'all always do this every time I say my age? Why do y'all do this? I'm a grown lady. My friend in high school who had a baby early because she didn't know how to use a condom. Her child is like 27. And for those who are wondering, Blue, how old are you? I'm 112. So they saw this episode with the other couples, and I'm going to say this for those who have watched it. This one person on this show who I'm watching her, and I cannot believe I'm saying this. If I was a white woman, I'd probably be her. She acts so much like me. It started to fuck with me. You immediately knew. Rhonda. I've been engaged twice. For those of you who are new here, I've been engaged twice. Rhonda's been married twice. I'm already kidding what kind of kids I would have. I'm sure my daughter would be much more chill than me because daughters love to be the opposite of their mothers. And then they end up being just like them if they don't try hard enough. I know my sons would be a little bit quirky and off the cuff because I wouldn't be raising no traditional toxic masculines. Everything from how Rhonda acts to what Rhonda wears to how much Rhonda has made it clear she likes to hunch. Okay? She likes her back cracked. At one point, Rhonda pulled out her tarot cards and I had to get up to walk around the room. Thank you, guys. When Rhonda pulled out her tarot cards, I said, now, I know y'all didn't cast an old white me. What in the fuck? Let me find a picture of Rhonda, my fucking girl. I love Rhonda, okay? That's my bitch. Rhonda is my bitch. I fuck with her heavy. I think Rhonda is the reason why I'm going to have to watch the whole goddamn season. I just need to make sure that y'all do my girl right. So, y'all, this is Rhonda. Let me pull up a picture of her. If I had to pick, whenever people tell me that I have a white person who I remind them of, it's always Natasha Lyonne. Natasha Lyonne from a show from Orange is the New Black, a Russian doll on Netflix. Natasha Lyonne is a gravelly voiced. Actually, let me pull up a picture of her because I've just made peace with the Natasha Lyonne comparisons. But the fact that Rhonda feels so fucking Rhonda. I love Rhonda so much. All right, let me pull up a picture of my former white doppelganger. By the way, guys, unlike Makia Steffens, I don't take pleasure in being compared to white women. I don't want to be a white woman. But anybody who watches the show and watches my live is going to be like, Blue, Rhonda acts just like you. If you say anything nice about her, it's biased. I'm telling you now, it is biased. If I say anything nice about Wanda, imagine that I'm trying to be objective, but I fuck with her heavy. Now, Natasha Lyonne is who I usually get compared to. Number one, I think it's because we have the same hair. I wear that wig often. I used to think it was only because of the wig, right? Not Mitson saying you see it. Okay. Everybody and their mother tells me, and it's usually white people, like, yo, you act just like if Natasha Lyonne was a plus size black woman, she'd be you. And I'm like, okay, it's because of the wig. But then I watched her show Poker Face recently. I binge watched the last season entirely. Natasha Lyonne in Poker Face plays a clearly neurodivergent, diagnosed or otherwise, a neurodivergent, ball-busting private investigator who has a habit of clocking shit that other people don't clock. And her superpower is that she's a human lie detector. When she's lying and nobody else, but people are lying and nobody else can tell, it's literally her job to call bullshit. And she has a raspy voice and very dry humor. Everybody and their mother who is a white person who likes Natasha Lyonne has at some point pulled me aside and been like, yo, you act like that lady from Poker Face. So I love Natasha Lyonne, which is why I don't mind this comparison. But now, baby, Rhonda, somebody said I get so locked in on her. Rhonda has given Natasha a run for her money. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this, number one, because I'm fucking weirded out by it. But number two, because there's things that have happened to Rhonda that have happened to me, and the way she responds to it is so on the money that I really love. I'm going to share the tab and see if I can find a picture of Rhonda by herself. I really love that the producers cast somebody like Rhonda to show what it looks like when a woman calls out a man in a healthy way. A lot of times what happens on these shows are the men will be behaving badly. And by the time the women call them out, the women themselves are showing their asses. MM and Akiche, how do you say his name? Akiche? I'm sorry, I can't say his name because I didn't like him. I'm bad at names to begin with. So is Rhonda, by the way. Rhonda asked her husband after their wedding, so what's your name again? I said, damn, Rhonda, that's some shit I would say. I'm really bad with names. Great with details, bad with names. So when Rhonda was cast and she had her first disagreement with, I'm going to make myself small, like I want to make Rhonda bigger. When Rhonda was cast and she had her first disagreement with her dude, the way that she did it was spot on. The way why am I having such a problem right now? I was just figuring out the buttons and I'm having problems. Hold on. Let me make myself really small. There we go. When Rhonda called out her man that she gets set up with, right? Pat. The way she did it was so masterful. I'm not just saying that because it's the way I would do it. Now it's hard. See, now I can't give Rhonda no compliments because I sound like I'm just being conceited. Pat is the man that they hooked her up with. And I was nervous about Pat. Because Pat at first gave me dirty old man. Pat said, I was with my wife for 30 years and I let her go because she wasn't a freak. And I said, now, excuse me, Pat. Pat said, I like to hunch. And my wife of 30 years, I tried to hold on because of the kids, but I would like some sex. I would like to have my booty rubbed. She wasn't good for that. Great mother, though. Nice lady. But I wanted somebody who's going to lay it low and spread it wide. And that's when the producers called in Rhonda. I'm so sorry. Y'all, Rhonda's a good time. Pat said, look, okay, I might look like a Poindexter, but I have needs. I have needs. I like a little adventure. And they gave him Rhonda. And dare I say it, that shit was a good idea. Let me look at my notes. Sorry, guys. When I go off the cut, she gets real freaky, which is why I was trying. Imagine if Rhonda was trying to do this live. I'm trying to go at my notes so I can be more upper crust and, whatever. So the name that I gave Rhonda and Pat is the spunky family-oriented duo. They both love family. They both love the life that they live. In fact, there was one moment when Pat said, I finally have someone to share this wonderful life that I've built for myself with. And I said, this motherfucker got it. Pat said, my life is fucking dope. I just need somebody to share it with. Rhonda said, my life is amazing, and I've had some great sex. And 2 husbands. I'm ready for my nigga. Let me read these notes, because I fuck with Pat. Pat and Rhonda make me feel the way I wanted the black couple to make me feel. Who thought these freaky old white people were going to give me the love, not Love is Blind, Married at First Sight, a hot flash of happiness? By the way, guys, is there something wrong with me that I haven't had any perimenopause things yet? Everybody who's 35 and up says they have perimenopause. I hit 40, nothing happened. I'm always a late bloomer, though. Speaking of late bloomers, I also think that Jalen's mom, Brenda, that's her name, by the way, the beautiful lady with the gray hair, I think she's a bit of a late bloomer. We'll talk about that in a second. So anyways, back to the freaky old white people who I'm obsessed with right now. Obsessed. These are all, you guys, can we just say these are all sentences I did not think I was going to be saying today? Freaky old white people have me obsessed. The black people are disappointing me. I'm watching Married at First Sight. Life comes at you fast, okay? Somebody said, Blue, hold on to it. Okay. So anyways, guys, Rhonda's a 63-year-old self-proclaimed hopeless romantic. Let me put it on Rhonda. Help me. Actually, can I find a picture of Rhonda and Pat? Rhonda and Pat, Married at First Sight. Let's see if we can find a picture of them, because I adore them. Ooh, I found a picture. And this picture is of the moment they first met. I'm going to tell you right now, Pat and Rhonda, I don't want to say this because I'm going to laugh. Pat and Rhonda were so attracted to each other at the altar. When they said to everybody else, you may kiss the bride, some people were like, hey, can I kiss you? You know, consent. We love consent. Peck. Some people got a hug. The way that Rhonda and Pat tongued each other down at the altar, I was waiting for her to wrap her leg around his waist. I'm about to share a little bit TMI. The last time I went to a sex party before I gave up being a part of the kink community. Okay, this has gone left. Okay, talking about Rhonda is gonna trigger me into wanting to share stories that I shouldn't be sharing. Before I left the kink community, y'all know that I had a previous life where I was a phone sex operator after doing academia. I was a member of the kink community. Okay. I've lived the full life, guys. You went to oh, honey. This is why I have a members only chat. Y'all love a story time. There is an infamous story that I told Icky on our first date that I've told friends before. They're like, Blue, please don't tell the story no more because it's a lot. And it's a lot. But at this function, which I will only be telling the story Blue After Dark. At this function, which is a story that I will not be telling outside the paywall, I was like, okay, this is a play party. Didn't know it was gonna be my last play party because by the time that party ended, I had seen too much, smelled too much, felt on too much, and said, I need to find a husband. I need to stop. This has gone too far. So this kink party is the moment where you go too far. You know how you might like a dessert, but if you eat it too much, you get sick. Anyways, at this kink party, all the black people were being a little bit like awkward at first. The first couple to get it in was the 2 old white people who were present. I don't know who invited this freaky old white couple to this black kink party. But the way these elders set this shit the fuck off, I believe that would be Rhonda and Pat. Yeah. Somebody said Perry hit me at 50. Oh, okay. So maybe I'm a late bloomer. I'm not even anywhere near my 50s. I mean, I joked that I'm 112. I just started my 40s in this decade. Like I just started, but still, all my homegirls who are 35 said they got it. So I'm like, well, how did I get left behind? Anyways, so Rhonda and Pat are a good time. Okay. They're a good time. And so let me just go back to my notes. So Rhonda says she married her first husband after 3 months. That's some shit that I would do. I got engaged after 3 months. Rhonda, who are you? Where'd they find you? I love you. She got married after 3 months and knocked out 4 babies because she was so in love with this man. And the only reason she divorced him was because he refused to keep a job. So imagine you are a fun, freaky, big personality type of girl. And you get engaged real young. Check. I know that feeling. You start knocking out babies. Check. Shout out to Troy from Philly. He told me he wanted me to have a baby immediately. Right? You say sure, but now he expects you to not only birth his babies and raise them, but also be the breadwinner. And Rhonda said, I'm okay with raising 4 kids. I'm not okay with raising 5. And by 5, I mean my ex-husband. So she dumped her ex-husband for being a homosexual. Now, who else has had to dump motherfuckers for being a homosexual? I did a 5-hour live about a homosexual. So at this point, I'm watching it, and I'm like, I'm getting triggered. Like, yo, is this a joke? Like, why the fuck is this bitch stole my look? Like, why is Rhonda just spitting out my life and calling it hers? So now I'm just like, okay, well, Rhonda's a real ass bitch. I fuck with her, right? Then we get to Pat. Pat said, oh yeah, Rhonda's second husband, she said she was with him for 18 months because she had already learned from the first one, and you ain't got to tell her twice. So the first marriage lasted way too long and popped out 4 kids. Second marriage, Rhonda was like, I already see where this is going. I'm out. Now, Rhonda said that she has not been in a relationship. How long has it been since she's been in a relationship? Rhonda said that she's been looking for her soulmate for 25 years. Damn. And guess what, guys? It's been about 15 years since my last engagement. Well, that's because the last time I felt somebody was going to propose to me, I stopped them. I was like, I already know where this is going, and no, please do not do that. So Rhonda says she's been looking for her soulmate for 25 years. Now let's talk about Pat. Pat is cool, but Rhonda's really the hero here, right? Pat said he was married for 30 years, but was sexually unsatisfied. Somebody said, is she an earth sign? I don't know. Can somebody look up Rhonda's sign? Because this is my bitch. You guys, we ride at dawn for Rhonda. Unless Rhonda says the N-word or starts doing a line of coke in the bathroom or some shit, I'm calling it she's my fave. Rhonda, please don't do nothing like that. Because here's the thing about caping for white folks. They'll embarrass you. If there's blue in the future, if you have to walk it back, just know that you tried, okay? So, not Rhonda reheating my nachos. Rhonda's old enough to be my mother, y'all. So, I might be reheating her nachos, to be perfectly honest. All right, so, Rhonda's 63, and she's just like, yeah, I lived a full life. And Pat is like, look, I need me a freak, okay? I don't mind being married. I like being in a long-term relationship, but I need me a freak. The fact that the producers and the matchmakers matched them up so perfectly. When I tell you, first of all, Rhonda pulled up in a red dress. Rhonda pulled up to her wedding as the lady in motherfucking red. Somebody said, Rhonda, please tell us who you voted for. Oh, no. Oh, no, now I'm scared. Rhonda, who did you vote for? It is Austin, Texas, though. Maybe, it could go either way because it's Austin, but it's also Texas. Rhonda, who'd you vote for? Oh, God. Can someone please talk Rhonda and tell me? You guys, it's been so long since I've been able to root for a white person over the age of 40 in the public zeitgeist. Please don't ruin this for me. Rhonda took a party bus. Rhonda was with her kids. So here's the thing. Let me go back to my notes. Rhonda took a party bus to the wedding and was halfway to twerking in her red dress with her children present. Rhonda pulled up on her wedding day, had all her kids at a counter in her kitchen and said, so check it. Mommy's getting married because mommy needs her back cracked. Some shit I would say. And she said, you know what? I woke up this morning and said I was going to pull out my oracle cards. For those who don't know, an oracle card is just a different form of a tarot card. Rhonda pulled out her tarot card and said, can you believe it? I pulled out my soulmate card today. She pulled her own fucking tarot cards on her wedding day and pulled the soulmate card. Walked down the aisle in her beautiful red dress and there was fucking Pat. Looking like he wanted to swallow her whole. I love everything about this. Oh, Gia, you talking about your endocrinologist? I actually need an endocrinologist. So Gia, can you DM me somewhere Find me Bluecentric on YouTube, not YouTube, on Instagram, I think. But please DM me. Or if you bought cameras from me, you should have access to my email. Gia, I need that information. I need an endocrinologist so bad in the Los Angeles area. So bad. I'm so happy I saw that. Anyways, so Rhonda is up here pulling tarot cards, telling her kids, mommy about to get her back cracked. Don't call me later. Okay, I'm about to get me a husband. And wearing cute red dresses. So at this point, I'm obsessed. Okay? For those who are asking where G is at, G is in Los Angeles, from what I think. I'm obsessed. What else did I write about Rhonda and her? On her wedding day, Rhonda pulled out her oracle deck. Already said that. Oh, her kids said, but mom, you're a lot sometimes. One of her hating ass sons. Why is it always our kids who want to ruin things for us? One of her sons said, mom, you're a lot sometimes. And Rhonda said, yeah. And for the right man, I'll be enough. The fuck? You're not about to shame Rhonda. In fact, let me find out Rhonda and her red dress. Rhonda, married at first sight, dress, red dress. I want y'all to see this red dress. Oh, and as I'm about to find a picture of Rhonda in her red dress, when Rhonda showed up in her red dress, Pat was like, yeah, we're going to kiss. I want to swallow you whole in front of all of our friends and family. They tongue kiss like they about to get each other pregnant. And then they get to the reception. Guess what Rhonda does? Rhonda grabs Pat and they go skipping into the reception. They look like they were about to start twerking. She almost twerked in the party bus. Had Pat been down, she would have twerked at her wedding. Okay? You could see all their teeth. Somebody said they could see their teeth. Thank you. You could see all their teeth to the back of their mouths. You guys, I love so much. I'm such a lover girl. Shout out to Meg Thee Stallion. I'm such a lover girl that seeing a woman, forget color, because I know sometimes we do the whole black woman thing. This is about being a woman, period. Pan out a little bit this time, because y'all know I'm pro-black, but I'm also a person of the world. Seeing a woman who's already had her first chapter, over the age of 45, over the age of 50, she's 63, right? Rhonda, by the way, Rhonda looks the fuck good for 63. It was so shocking that in the same way I was shocked by the 47-year-old, I was also shocked that Rhonda was 63 because Rhonda looks the fuck good. If you had told me Rhonda was 55, I would have believed it, right? The fact that an older woman can live a full life, still like herself, build a beautiful life for herself, refuse to be with a motherfucker who does not appreciate her. Take a gamble on finding love later in life and then actually pull it off. Chef's kiss. So Rhonda and her boo go to the reception. They kissing, they dancing, they twerking. Their families love each other. Pat, let's see what Pat said. Because Pat, you would have thought that Pat had been just given his dream girl. Let me see what Pat said. Because Pat was fucking lit. Pat said, she is jaw-droppingly beautiful and has a bubbly personality. And the red dress just puts an exclamation point on what I already suspect, which is that she's a fucking smoking hot smoke show. When a white man says you are a smoke show, the black equivalent is that bitch is bad. Pat responded to Rhonda the way the rest of us responded to Meg Thee Stallion in that video for Love a Girl. I'm here for it. That nigga said that's a bad bitch. Thank you, Married at First Sight. Shout out to Peacock. I thought he was gonna start doing fucking hood shout outs. For a white man to call you smoking hot, G fucking Willikers, bitch. Rhonda, you got you a good one. Then he said, hold on, I want to make sure I get this all right. At one point, Pat says, Rhonda is so full of life, she reminds me of my dad. I'm not gonna get emotional. I'm such a fucking sap, y'all. And he says to Rhonda, I wish you could have met my dad. He'd love you. Y'all. He said, you such a bad bitch. And you about that life. You know who else was a baddie? My fucking daddy. That nigga was about it too. Timothy. I wish you could meet him. So now I'm watching this like, are these old white people about to make me cry? Look at y'all saying, oh. Y'all, feelings, okay? And here's the thing, and this is the part where I can admit, in the same way we said that when it comes to dark-skinned black women who watch reality TV, or black women in particular, racially non-ambiguous black women, it's not even about colorism. When it comes to racially unambiguous black women, monoracial black women, watching Olandria be loved by Nick wasn't about us fetishizing interracial relationships. It was simply watching a young lady without any of the exotic asterisks next to her name be treated right. And y'all dragged Olandria when she said it was healing. I'm going to say that Olandria and Nick's relationship was healing for Black women in the same way that Rhonda and Pat's relationship thus far, because you motherfuckers love to embarrass me when I came for y'all, their relationship is just as healing for women over a certain age. Now, hold on, Gia. What I do? Gia said I'm a mess. What I do now? Y'all know statism. I don't know when I be saying stuff that y'all think is jokes. It's never jokes, by the way. I'm always being serious and y'all laughing, so I laugh along. So what Rhonda did just in these first 4 episodes, even though I could technically be one of her children that she had when she was very young, it healed something in me. For those of us who are like, I'd rather die alone with a beautiful life than die miserable because I picked the wrong motherfucker. It feels good to know that there are women out there who took that gamble and it worked out for them. Somebody said elderly love is so wholesome. Now check it. Rhonda's 63, so she is elderly. I'm not going to call what I'm about to do elderly love, respectfully. Me and Cheech, Bridget's husband, were talking the other day, and Cheech called me, and he was like, yo, Blue, they call me Unc, but I'm a young Unc. And I was like, Cheech, that's called middle age. When you're too old to be with the youngins under 35, but you're way too young to be an elder or an auntie, that's called middle age. They say middle age is 40 to 60. Respectfully, I think middle age is 35 to 60. I think 35 to 60 is middle age because we're getting stressed at 35 in ways that people didn't get stressed at 35 previously. By the time I finally turned 40, I had been feeling 40 for a couple of years, right? Yes, guys, hope springs eternal. So I hope you watch. And here's the thing, too. Rhonda's such a fucking good time. Everybody else knows that whenever you have the night that you want to sleep in for Married at First Sight, you can either have a conversation with your new partner and learn them. You can fall asleep because you're tired, or you can fuck. Rhonda said, before we get to what you know is about to happen, because she looked at Pat like, you already know I'm about to save a horse and ride a cowboy, if you know what I mean. So Pat and Rhonda knew they were going to hunch the minute they laid eyes on each other. But she was like, before we get into the fun part, I want to do something else that's fun. And Pat was like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to get into? He's thinking it's about to be sexy time. Rhonda said, I want to jump in this pool. Rhonda and Pat jumped into the pool fully dressed. Her in this red dress. Let me make myself small again. Rhonda grabbed Pat. First of all, they were making out. Stopped making out and said, you know what I really want to do? I feel so hot. He's like, yeah, you a smoke show. Of course you feel hot. She grabbed this man and they jumped head first, fully dressed into the pool, kikiing and laughing. And then he probably broke her back. Yes, like Love Island. This is why whenever I get hit by a reality show producer, and I don't know why they keep hitting me up, but in the few times in life that I've got, it's been more than a few. Whenever I get hit by a reality show, I'm always like, I know I have a big personality. Will they honor my personality without making me a buffoon? As a Black woman, one of the reasons why I tend to be hesitant whenever I get hit up by production teams is because I know I have a big fun personality, but I'm also intelligent and I'm also human. And I'm also soft as well as I am sharp, right? I have a sharp mind, but I'm soft everywhere else. Will they honor the totality of my humanity and treat me like a human and not turn me into a buffoon? The fact that they didn't just turn Rhonda into a horny old bitch and actually let her be seen in her divine femininity. Who the fuck did Peacock hire to produce Married at First Sight? And can you please hire them to work on Love is Blind next year? Can we start a petition that whoever the producers were for Married at First Sight season 19 at Peacock, that they somehow have a hand in Love is Blind? I love this so fucking much. And I'm going to skip around another episode because now I realize I want to talk about the couples in their totality. Because the fact that there's other couples, I think that Rhonda and Pat are so amazing. I actually just want to talk about them until I talk about somebody else. There was a moment in episode 3 or 4. Let me look it up. Was it episode 3 or 4? Because I have copious notes. In episode 3. He's so nasty. In episode 3, Pat sends a group chat to everybody on the show, says, hey, we're all about to go to Panama for the honeymoons. does anybody need an explainer video about how to be a part of the My High Club? And he sent everybody an explainer video about how to fuck on a plane. Now that Pat, you're still an old white man, Pat. Rhonda's a good time, but Pat, Brittany, the only black girl on the show, was like, I don't want to see that. That's nasty. And I honestly, if an older white man who's old enough to be my daddy sent a video that gave instructions about how to hunch, wait a minute, look at y'all saying you need that, about how to hunch on the plane, I might be grossed out. But Josh and Jalen said yes, and they did it. Josh and Jalen said, say less, thank you for the instructions. And they hunched on the plane. So Pat and Rhonda are already the freaky elders who are just here for a great time and a long time. Yes. So around episode 4, Pat is like, yo, I've known Rhonda for 72 hours, and this might have been the best 72 hours of my life. Everything about her is amazing. She's so great. She's so great. Rhonda, on the other hand, says, Pat talks about himself a lot and doesn't ask shit about me. Now, I thought this moment was really important because this happens to me a lot. And it's not just because I think that Rhonda is just my old white doppelganger. When you are a woman who knows how to hold safe space for your partner, this is not gendered, whether your partner is somebody, yes, there was an instructional video about how to hunch on a plane. Whether your partner is male or female, it doesn't matter. When you are someone who's dating a stoic person and you have a big personality, but you also know how to keep people safe, men always dump on me, not in a trauma dump kind of way, but it's like, yo, finally, I've met a woman that I can share with. And when you have gone 20, 30, 40, in Pat's case, 59 years, because yes, Rhonda's also a cougar. Yes, Rhonda's also a cougar. For those who know my history, the men that I date tend to be 5 to 10 years younger than me because number one, they think I'm their age. So there's that. But as someone who dates men who are younger, simply because I have a fun personality and I'm always mistaken for younger. When Pat said, yo, I love talking to Rhonda, but Rhonda was like, this motherfucker has not asked me any questions about myself. I shot Pat a little bit of bail at first because he probably has been waiting his entire life to talk to somebody the way he talks to Rhonda. Pat couldn't even get his wife to do doggy style in his 30-year marriage, right? And so because of that, I understood Rhonda's frustration because it's my frustration, but I also understood that Pat was excited to finally have somebody. So Pat, let me look up what happened when Pat and Rhonda had their first confrontation. Because you guys always know, I don't trust a man until we've had our first disagreement. That's how I know how safe I am with you. Let's look for the Pat and Rhonda. Was it episode 4? Yes, it says here, Rhonda's EQ is incredibly high and her delivery is direct and reasonable and affirming. So Rhonda tells Pat, hey, you don't ask me questions about myself. And Pat immediately starts to say, but I think you're amazing. So what's the issue? I'm so affirming. And Rhonda says, literally what I always say. Hey, you don't have to be defensive, which means you don't have to defend yourself. I'm not mad. I'm just telling you an opportunity to make things better. What do I always say? Course correction. Rhonda said, Pat, I'm not complaining. I'm highlighting something that I think that you can fix. I adore you. I already love being around you. I think you're such a good man. And I don't think you're doing it on purpose. I think this is an unintentional blind spot. Somebody said, you appreciate that scene? Because I can tell you, I have had that exchange with every single person that I have ever dated my entire life. And 90% of the time, I still get cussed out. Or if the man is chicken shit, he'll pretend that he heard me, and then he'll do something spiteful afterwards to show that he actually resented me. When Rhonda said that, I was like, oh, Rhonda's giving that I'm not defensive speech. I'm just giving you opportunity speech. I'm giving this speech in every relationship I've ever had. Pat, if you're going to break my heart right now, this is where it's going to happen. You know what Pat said? Let me pull up. I want to make sure I said exactly what Pat said. Pat said, hold on. Thank you for teaching me how to be more present. What? Rhonda said, Pat, you ain't asked me shit about myself. You so happy about how easy I am to talk to and what a good listener I am. You ain't listened to nothing I had to talk about. And he said, thank you for helping me be more present. Watching this, I don't mean to do the Cynthia Erivo, but watching this did something to my brain chemistry. I needed to be reminded not only that the Rhonda that lives within me is reasonable, that men like Pat who can respond like that also exist. To me, he's saying that because it's only been 72 hours. You might be right, and yet can we have this? Because I need you to be in the present as well. Pat said, "Thank you for helping me be more present. Be more present with us. Right now, this is all we have, right?" And then him and Rhonda start talking, and Rhonda is explaining something to him, and he's like, "Oh, that happened to me too," and he recenters himself. And she said what I said to Icky in my first date. You guys watched my video about Icky. I said on my first date, he was constantly centering other women. And I said, hey, don't decenter me. This is my moment right now. Let me have it. Same thing. Rhonda said, hey, Pat, you asked me a question. The minute I answered the question, you immediately made it about you again. Can you stay on me? He said, oh, shit, thank you. And he fixed it. And you could see that he sincerely changed it. And I was like, oh. So yeah, guys, if Pat and Rhonda don't make it, if this red dress ends up being a scarlet dress, a scarlet letter of sorts, I'm gonna be so fucking heartbroken. The next couple that I want to talk about is hold on for a second. I'm gonna pick two more couples for time because we actually do have another live that I want to get to. The next couple I want to talk about is Josh and Jalen and Belinda and Chad. Now, Belinda and Chad, let me pull up a picture of them. They're the other couple. Belinda and Chad. They're the other older couple. And number one, I'm going to show a picture of Belinda's daughter because it's actually insane how much Belinda and her daughter look alike. If you want to know what Jalen's going to look like when she's older, just look at a picture of Belinda. Let me see, open image and open up the image. Guys, I'm sorry for the delays, but there's so many windows open. There we go. This is Belinda and her mother. Tell me this is not the same bitch twice. You know when we're about to talk about Brittany more. You know when you are looking at those apps that can turn you into an older version of yourself? Jalen literally just looks like a younger version of her mother. Her mother looks like her in the future. Beautiful genes. They're both gorgeous. Flows to the copy and paste. Exactly. It's copy and paste. The way they laugh, their mannerisms. So I thought it was very, very sweet. Now, here's the thing about Josh and Jalen is that Josh and Jalen like each other. They go to Belinda's wedding, right? Belinda's going to get married to this older gentleman. And hold on. His name, Chad. I'm not going to hold you. Chad is no Pat. God, this sounds so white. Chad is no Pat. In the same way I was excited about Pat, I was worried about Chad because Chad seems like one of those old, boring white people who is very stuck in his ways and doesn't like change. So Chad made me nervous. Chad was too stoic until Chad said, I think she's beautiful. I'm just nervous. And I was like, oh, Chad. Now, Chad used to be in the military. Here's the thing I wrote about Chad. Chad used to be in the military, and I need you guys to understand. There's a certain level of misogyny that all men all of us, even women, internalize that is cultural, right? Different cultures do misogyny differently. White men in the military and Latino women have very compatible versions of misogyny that they interact with. Belinda, I hate to say it, but being somebody from Latin America, I know what Latin American misogyny looks like. It's very aligned with white military men. It's very old school, very machismo. Oh, I hate this ad. Why is this ad popping up? What's going on? Close. And so when I heard that he was a military man, I actually thought that because she was a Latin woman who'd been married for a long time, that she actually might be more compatible with him than a pink hat wearing progressive white woman. You know what I mean? So let's look about Belinda and Chad. Let's see what their breakdown is. I think their breakdown is in episode 2. They weren't as fun, so I didn't write about them as much as I wanted to. Here goes Belinda and Chad. It's finally time to see Jalen's mom, Belinda, get married. Her groom is a big, bald, serious-looking man named Chad who claims that he's nice, but he doesn't look it. Belinda's only 47. That shocks me. What the fuck? Oh, sorry. These notes. This is when I was surprised that she was 47. Let's skip that part. We already went over that. She said she had kids at 19 and was married for 20 years and has been single for 8 years. So she's been married for 20 years, single for 8 years, which means her entire life she was in this relationship. And she said that she didn't even wear a wedding dress or have a wedding. She went to the Justice of the Peace in a black denim skirt and a black t-shirt and got married with no wedding and no wedding dress. So this is her first wedding and her first wedding dress, even though it's her second marriage. Somebody said, not Chad. Yes, Chad. So the thing about Belinda and Chad is I was worried about them because after seeing how sexy Rhonda and Pat were, somebody said, oh, Belinda is me. So yes. This felt much safer and much drier, right? And I was like, I'm a little worried. So here's the thing. Right when she's about to get married, Jalen and Josh go to see her because they got married the day after Jalen and Josh. So all the younger couples and Pat and my homegirl Rhonda got married on day 1. Day 2 was for the mom because they wanted Josh and Jalen to be able to go to Belinda's wedding, and they wanted Belinda to be there for her daughter's wedding. Chad is very uptight. He is. And he also likes her. He's just boring. I'm going to say this. The only thing that made me think that Belinda and Chad might have any chance is the fact that after their first day of being married, Belinda was like, Chad, you're not giving me much. And Chad said, oh, I like you a lot. And then he went to the jewelry store and upgraded her ring. A lot of you don't know this, but there's rumors that Love is Blind only gives the contestant like rings that cost like $200. The rings on Love is Blind are allegedly cheap. From what I saw this season, I think the rings on Married at First Sight are also very cheap. Chad saw the cheap ass ring that the producers gave him to give Belinda and said, nah, not for my girl. I need her to know how much I like her, and got her a ring. Okay? A real ring with some weight to it. And what's so funny is I wrote in my notes that Chad and Belinda quite literally look like an older version of Josh and Jalen. Well, that analogy would be proven correct because in the next episode, I think episode 3 or 4, Josh also said, I really like Jalen. Why the fuck did y'all give me this cheap ass ring? And he went and bought her a heavy emerald cut ring that I can tell you from experience as someone who's been engaged cost several $1,000s. So both her and her daughter had bank dropped on them within 72 hours. Somebody said his love language is probably, I agree. His love language is probably gifts and acts of service. Jalen's ring, I know women who have to get blowjobs for 5 years to get a ring like that for their anniversary. I don't know what kind of sex, because Jalen said that she and Josh did not have sex on their wedding day. They had sex on her mother's wedding day. And when Josh and Chad and all the men are in the pool talking, and Josh is like, yo, I hate to tell y'all, but me and my girl, dad, because, they're joking that this is your father-in-law. Me and my girl had sex for the first time on your wedding night. And he said, oh, that's something we have in common. So did I, my boy. And I was like, oh, not Chad being spicy, although they were in a hot tub with Pat. I think Pat being in the hot tub with them is why Chad was inspired to be spicy. I think Rhonda and Pat are the kind of couple that any time they come to a function, the function's going to get sexier. I'm saying that from personal experience. I don't want to overshare, but there've been several times that I've been at functions and that my presence was alleged to have caused things to happen that might not have happened otherwise. So Jalen is sitting around with the girls while her husband and her father-in-law are kikiing about blowing out her and her mama's back. And Jalen says in front of her mother, did y'all fuck? And her mother's like, I sure did. So now I'm like, okay, I don't know how I feel about Jalen and her mama being on the show together, because now they're talking about hunching. They're talking about hunching in front of your mama. I mean, my mother's a Scorpio, so it's probably some shit that she and I could talk about back in the day, but still, right? So all the women are talking about sex. All the men are talking about sex. Everybody's happy. And the only red flag, I don't want to say too much because I actually want you guys, I have so many other notes I could give. But I want to end on this note. The only red flag the entire fucking season so far that is bad enough for me to make any statement about it is the fucking young black couple. You mean to tell me y'all had me rooting for everybody but the black couple? And here's the thing. I don't think it's the producer's fault. I don't think it's the producer's fault. Right? That while the elders and the youngins are all having a good time. And this might be, actually, no, fuck might. This is already the healthiest season of Love is Blind in the last decade. I'm fucking calling it, because usually by episode 4, I'm already about to turn it off and like go call my therapist. The fact that we have what is so far the healthiest season in a decade, and the black couple is the ones fucking it up, and I can't even blame the producers. What is y'all doing? Oh, the guy that's EDM, we're going to get into that, but I actually want you guys to watch more episodes. So the next episode comes out on Thursday. We're going to talk about the other couples. We've talked about the elders. So we already know that in this season, the old folks are actually bringing the sauce. Okay? Especially Rhonda and Pat. Rhonda, you my bitch. If I was to ever interview anybody from this season, it would be Rhonda. And we've already talked about Josh and Jalen, because Josh and Jalen are just a younger version of Belinda and Chad. And Chad is not as fun as Josh, but he knows how to buy a fucking ring. Right? We've talked about those couples. The other couples to me are B actors that we will talk about after Thursday's episodes, because I want to see what happens on Thursday's episodes before I put my foot in their ass. Because in the same way that when Rhonda said, hey, you don't ask me enough questions, Pat took it on the chin. Another couple had that moment and it went very differently. But it happened at the very end of episode 4, and that feels like a spoiler, and I don't want to spoil it to you because I actually want you guys to watch and we can talk about it all season. So the couple that I'm going to end on before I take a break, because we're going to do an after show at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, is the black couple. I feel like I want to smoke a J before I do this. I'm so annoyed. Let's watch this video about the black couple, and I'm going to, in just probably the last 10 minutes of this live, explain to you why I have my eye on them, and it's not for a good reason.
These two are just giving not compatible. We're only 4 episodes in, and I feel so bad because y'all know I love me some black love, but it's just giving not compatible. Even from when they were having conversations like at the wedding. Don't get me wrong, I understand this is their first time meeting each other, but I personally wasn't seeing the chemistry between the two of them. I don't see it. I don't see that. All the conversations were like awkward. It was, which I understand. I give them grace because they just met, but like now it's just like y'all already having arguments after day 2. Like it's just, I'm not understanding.
Will and Brittany, y'all, is our next couple, and it's the black couple of the season, and I just don't see it. I just don't. At first, I was like, oh, he's attracted to her. He likes her vibe. They're going to kick it off. He's awkward, a little weird. But
Gia, usually I would agree with you, but they made themselves look bad, babe. Usually I would agree with you. I completely agree, but no, they did it on their own.
as soon as he had the interaction with her dad, I knew something was different. Cause sir, why are you dismissive of her father? Like it's giving very much disrespectful.
Yeah.
Apparently they go on the honeymoon. She pulls out her red dress and her high heels to get Bucky naked. They do it, but something goes wrong with contraception or protection, and he says he don't want to do it no more. And from that point on, he wants nothing to do with her.
Okay, so no, this young lady, respectfully, the way you're telling the story, I think is a mischaracterization of what happened. This content creator,
and she says it's
no shade to this content creator. I'm sure she's lovely. We have this thing that we do that when we hyper relate to people, we tend to shoot them bail and be blind. Luckily, I don't have that problem. What she said makes Will sound horrible, and Will is horrible for his own reasons. But what she said very conveniently absolves Brittany of what she did. And a lot of you are telling the story this way, and that's why I really felt like I need to do this live. What actually happened was Brittany has an anxious attachment style. And like I teach in my class, for those of you who want to take the class, because you're going to recognize yourself in married. By the way, covering Married at First Sight is such a fucking commercial for my class. I don't talk about my class often. I'm usually talking about candles or magic or whatever. Winter class right here, winter26.eventbrite.com. Our next class is in January. I have couples in my class. I currently have a couple in my class that's been together for 25 years. It's her second time taking it. It's her husband's first time taking it. And he has thanked me damn near every class for saying, yo, I never thought of it this way. Thank you for giving me these tools. Last class, I had another couple of 25 years. I have so many married couples who've been together for decades take my class together, apart, and then together again. And one of the things that I've learned over the years from watching so many couples come to me is that, by the way, who better to give advice to a couples than a woman? Let's get into this, by the way. Let's get into it. Who better to give a couple advice than me, and why? I'm about to say something that is controversial. Actually, I feel like I'm going to say something that's a little controversial. Let me put my lip gloss on for this. There's a thing that I teach that a content creator in the past has stolen, but it didn't do no numbers, so hopefully he's still not taking credit for it. There's a thing that I teach, and it's called the relationship hierarchy. This is something that I have been talking about for probably 20 years now. And now that I'm working on my book, yes, because I am working on my book, please buy it when it happens. But there's a thing that I teach called the relationship hierarchy. Most people say, Blue Telusma, unmarried Blue Telusma, how are you doing classes where you're helping and counseling couples who have been together for 20, 25 years when you're unmarried? How is that possible? You have some nerve. Number one, I know what it's like to be proposed to and say yes and get engaged, because I have dated men where I've acted like a wife and they saw the wife in me and they asked to wife me. So I'm not a single person who does not know what it's like to be in a long-term relationship. The only reason I'm not married is because I said no. Right? I'm the one who ended both of my engagements because I recognized that those men proposed to me because they saw that I would be a good wife. But unfortunately, I had to break up with them because I realized they wouldn't be good husbands. A lot of men propose to women who they think will be good wives without putting any thought into asking themselves, will I be a good husband? So I most certainly can teach about marriage because I know what it's like for women to give up their part, and have done it to the point where it's compelled others to ask me to marry them. Number two, you guys say that to single women in general, pan out from just Blue Telusma. You tell single women in general that they can't give advice to married couples. You tell single men in general they can't give advice to married couples because in your mind, well, you have no experience. First thing I want to say is the Black and brown communities in particular will have people who've been together for 20 years and not married go through all the things that are marriage problems, except for the paperwork and some of the legal parts of it. And then because they didn't get the paperwork, they'll be told, well, you've been single, so you don't count. So the word marriage is already a tricky word for people of color. And there are social, economic, and racial, cultural reasons why that disparity exists. It's not just a character, right? Secondly, you guys also tell single women they can't give advice to married people because you act as if that the best thing that can happen to you is to be married or in a relationship. And the worst thing that can happen to you is to be single. Yes? The same way, not all Black people are equipped to give advice on being Black. And yet I have shown you guys videos of white scholars who can explain anti-Blackness better than more white people, Black people, because they actually studied it. If a white scholar who actually went to school for Africana studies can technically, academically know more about the history of the Black experience than actual Black people who didn't study their culture. In the same respect, there are several single people who are incredibly equipped to give advice to married couples despite not being married. And I'm going to explain to you the way that I've created to make you understand that conceptually. The hierarchy that I created, the relationship hierarchy, and I should probably trademark this, watch somebody steal it again, is when it comes to relationships, the top tier of all relationships, you guys write this down. This is a little bit of free game. Y'all know that whenever we're ramping up for me to teach class, we do a thing called free game. The next class is in January, so I'll be doing these free game moments from now until January. So the top tier of all romantic relationships, for those who are not asexual and therefore do believe in being in relationships with others, right? Because the asexual community does exist. The top level, the first place that you can be when it comes to a human being who likes romantic relationships is to be in a healthy relationship with another person. That is first place. You guys writing this down? The relationship hierarchy, trademarked by Bluecentric. If you heard it anywhere else, they stole it from me. I came up with this 20 years ago when all my friends who were in relationships were asking me for advice and my ass was single and had just broken up with my fiance, right? So this is a very old, even though it might be new to y'all. So first place is 2 or more healthy people in a relationship together. Shout out to the thruples out there. If you and another person are in a healthy relationship together, you are first place. Can't nobody tell y'all shit except for your therapist. And the rest of us need to get advice from you. When I see a couple who is healthy, and healthy does not mean perfect. Healthy means equipped and invested. Because words mean things, right? Healthy does not mean perfect. Perfect is actually toxic because it's a facade. The only people that I really ask for advice is people who are in a healthy relationship together. That is first place. What do y'all think is second place? And yes, I did give a shout out to the aromantics because you exist and I love you all. Second place to 2 or more people being in a healthy relationship together. Second place is being healthy by yourself. If you can't be healthy in a relationship, the next best thing, the second place to being healthy in a relationship is being healthy and whole by yourself. Now, who does that describe? Oh shit, that's me. Hi. It's Blue, second place to Lusma. Nice to meet you. Bloop. You guys are all saying bloop in the comments. What do you mean I can't give couples advice? What do you mean you're shocked that people who've been together for 25 years take my class together? I'm in second place. In third place, class, you taking notes? In third place, because happy together is first place, happy alone is second place, and third place is unhappy by yourself. Y'all see where this is going? The third place to being in a relationship with yourself and others is being miserable by yourself. Why? Because you're miserable, but you're not causing harm to anybody else. Your shit is contained. That means you can be selfish. It doesn't hurt anybody else. And you just need to figure out how to talk to the fucking lady. So if first place, and I'm being redundant intentionally because redundancy has scientifically been shown to help people retain knowledge. If first place is happy together, and second place is happy alone, healthy and happy alone, and third place is miserable and or confused by yourself, guess who is last fucking place? Guess who in Blue Toulouse's trademark relationship hierarchy is in last place? Miserable together, miserable couples, people who are together and miserable, together and fighting for their lives, together and unhealthy as fuck are in fourth place. So again, I ask you, why the fuck are y'all surprised that the bitch in second place is coaching couples in fourth place? Do we not understand numbers? I'm completely equipped to help married couples who are not as healthy and happy and whole as they could be. Because 2 is higher than 4 when you're ranking, yes? I don't mean to sound condescending. I just need you guys to fully understand on a granular level. I'm reading the comments. So when an unhappy married couple or somebody who's in a miserable, unhealthy relationship says to me, well, Blue, you're not married. Who are you to give me advice? I'm the bitch who's 2 spots ahead of you. Next question. And guess what, guys? When I need advice, guess who I ask? I ask people who are healthy alone and people who are healthy together. I respect the ranking as much as anybody else. I didn't just create this ranking so I could stunt on miserable people in relationships. I honor the ranking myself. When I am going through something, I find a friend who is semi-okay on their own and or happy in a relationship with someone else. And that's why I don't ask my miserable married friends for advice just because they're married. The word married is neutral. What kind of fucking marriage do you got? The word husband is neutral. What kind of husband did you get? Does that make sense, guys? You guys wrote it down the notes? Okay, guys. Well, this is amongst many of the things that I teach in my class. If you want to take my class, if you want to take On Thy Shift, where many people who are in third and fourth and some in second place come to me to figure out how to be in first place or stay in first place or enjoy second place, because not everybody wants to be in first place. And also, too, I need you to understand, for anybody who's hearing this, male or female, man, woman, gender nonconforming, please understand your true ranking. You guys are saying preach, preacher. You guys are funny. Please understand the fact that so many women in second place find themselves so thirsty and desperate for a relationship that they unwittingly end up dragging themselves to fourth place. That's why I don't envy you hoes, because I understand where I'm plotted. The only time you see me say, yo, God, I see what you've done for others, is when I see two people who are happy and healthy and whole together. Everybody else is none of my business. Why the fuck would I be worried about people who are doing worse than me? I don't think being in a relationship is doing better than me. What kind of relationship, boo? Because I go to bed happy every night. How do you go to bed? I wake up happy every night. How do you wake up? I like myself when I talk to people. How do you feel about yourself when you talk to your partner? And what's crazy is so many men have been taught that any relationship for a woman is better than her being alone. Men have been taught that we are in last place. And when they see us acting as if we're in second place, they resent that there's a version of joy that doesn't include them. That's something that society has taught a lot of men and a lot of women who have internalized misogyny. Now, I'm bringing this up because when it comes to Married at First Sight, yes, this is a Married at First Sight live that we're doing a recap. I can tell that Brittany is in third place. She's miserable by herself. And because she does not recognize that second place even exists, she does not recognize that there's a version of her that needed to figure out how to be alone and happy before she could learn how to be happy together. She's found herself in fourth place when she started off in third place. This show is already a regression for her. Is that helpful, guys? I hope that's been helpful. And if you feel compelled to watch Married at First Sight because of this, I love that. All right, let's get back to watching. So this is why I disagree with this young lady.
To her a couple times before with other people. Very curious about that point. But she says he's disinterested. He doesn't ask her any questions. He says she doesn't talk back. She storms off. He says he's not going to chase her because he don't chase people. She said she needed time. If she wanted to be around him, she would have stayed her tail in the room. Can we just ever have a love story? A non-toxic, healthy, happy love story? I don't know why he came on here. Like I said, my initial impression in episode 1.
Do you see how she's only blaming him? She's only blaming him. Y'all, ladies, please stop doing this. Sometimes it's us too. It's him and her.
Changed vastly by episode 4. I don't know what he's here for. Like I said, I thought there was an initial attraction, but I don't know. It's giving he's very curt, very dismissive, doesn't really too much give a damn. And I think she's already turned off as well.
Brittany is out of her mind. Peacock Just released the first 4 episodes of the new season of Married at First Sight, and Brittany needs therapy, not a husband. Brittany has never had a relationship that has lasted over 3 months, and around 3 months, her partner starts to check out. And naturally, what would be the next best course of action when you've never had a relationship over 3 months last? Run to the altar and marry somebody that you've never seen or met before. We got a scene of her telling her husband, mind you, that she has never met or spoken to before, that she doesn't want to know anything about him, his favorite color, none of that fluff stuff. She just wants to know what he needs in a wife. Like, ma'am, you just met him. Why don't you try to maybe get to know him and build some connection, and then he would be able to.
So you guys, the thing that everybody's talking about that happened with Brittany and old boy is that they finally had sex. She said, I'm about to put on a sexy, it felt very Johnny Gill. I'm about to put on a sexy dress and, look good for my man. Because I think it hit her that she was being too stiff. Apparently they had sex and he shut up the club. In my notes, it's the shooting up the club incident. Those who know what that means know what that means. She freaked out when she realized that he had shut up the club. And when she freaked out, he pulled back. So it wasn't just that they had sex and he just got distant. That is not the truth. They had sex. She had a meltdown during sex and his dick got soft. And because she's anxious and he's an avoidant, we teach about this in class, by the way, guys. Because she's anxious and he's an avoidant, when you're dealing with somebody who's an avoidant and you're anxious, the minute you freak out, they pull away. Those are two insecurities mirroring each other. So the fact that we're all chastising him for pulling him away, but not recognizing that her freak out also triggered him as well, this is why I teach the class. All right, guys. I think, they're saying there was an incident where she said something to the effect of, and maybe I'm wrong, I'll watch it back, but she said something to the effect that there was an incident and she freaked out. So either she freaked out because he shut up the club or he couldn't get it hard and she freaked out. It was she was speaking like a church girl, so I'll go back and watch it and clarify. But y'all, I hate to end this Married at First Sight short, but my members are going to always be my priority, respectfully. I love everybody who was on this channel, but in this economy, my members come first. And so it's 10:17. I actually need a 30-minute break to eat because I'm about to pass out because I've been running around all day. So for the members who are watching, we're going to come back at 10:45 Eastern, 7:45 Pacific because I need to eat. Because the live that we're about to do is way more involved than the Married at First Sight one. And we're going to be doing hot topics and there's mad videos. And so I need my energy for that. So if you want to become a member, please hit the, what's that button called? The join button that I showed you earlier. It's also in the description box. And if you are a member, I will see you in 30 minutes because I need to eat. Y'all saw what happened when Monique did the after show without eating. She damn near turned into a screensaver on us. Shout out to Monique. I love you, friend. So I'll see you guys at 10:45 Eastern. And to everybody else, become a member. What are you doing? All right. Love y'all. Bye, family.